Okay. So let's see.
What do you mean? Already? But I thought you said you was going to discuss it with him. You talked to me.
All right. Peace, everyone. I think you can all hear me. If you can, or well, I guess if you cannot, you don't hear this right now anyway. But if you can hear me, just give me a shout. I know we're starting a little late today, but if you can hear me, just give me a shout in the chat room, everyone. All right. So we're gonna start here. Just give me 1 second. Let's see. Yeah. So I think you can hear me. Breaking up a little bit. All right. So breaking up is better than not coming in at all. So I'll take that. All right. Okay. So just give me a second here. All right. To get us into the right space, the right headspace. I see everybody's filling in. I know we're starting a little late today. Just forgive me for that. It's breaking up a lot. You're on, but choppy. All right. It's probably clear now, though, right? I think there's a delay. I did my little clear up trick. So let me know if it has cleared up as of yet. All right. Just give me a second. All right. Breaking up. All right. Somebody better tell me it's clear soon. I'm getting too many is breaking up. Get it together, y'all. Let me start with the intro, and you tell me when it gets clear. Okay, Nicole says it's clear. There we go. All right, it's clear. Cool. So we're getting started, and we're getting going. Everybody get settled. It's going to be a fun show today. Got some stuff going on in the background. All right. Peace, everyone. We're going to get started in just a second. Here we go.
Enlightenment comes from allowing yourself to journey through the dark shadows.
You are now in the realm of enlightenment and transformation.
Welcome to Chief Speaks.
All music performed and produced by Yu Ya.
Enlightenment and transformation. Enlightenment comes from allowing yourself to journey through the dark shadows of death, the primordial abyss of wisdom's waters. For it is the treasures and mysteries that lie wait in the dark that transform us and propel us to a new enlightened state. One should neither aspire to live in the light nor the dark, but should journey between the two in order to evolve the overall reality into a self-actualized creation. Knowledge is your light as wisdom is your darkness. The bold interplay of the two in your life leads you to an enlightened understanding of yourself and the universe you've created. Male is your enlightenment. Female is your transformation. Child is your evolution. Woman, accept the light into your darkness so it may enlighten you. Man, bring your light boldly into the darkness so that it may transform you. Enlightenment and transformation.
I love you so much because you just don't know what you've just done for me. Thank you so much.
Wow. This is like the best call I've had in ages on BTR.
So this show was meant for me to be able to hear today. And I'm so thankful.
That's his home.
For now, a new pathway has now been cut in order to get to the Almighty, where there may not have been one. So the communication with them, if they have enough power and strength to talk to us, the communication will get very clear.
That's one of the reasons I don't get into the encouragement thing too much, because it starts to become a perpetual alarm clock that we just keep hitting snooze on. I speak to the ascended masters, quote unquote. I talk about spiritual stuff, but I also speak about some very practical, we can do today things.
Be as natural as you can be with your spiritual. You can't always go by your feelings, because your feelings are corrupted. Your feelings are just as corrupted as everything else, your chakras and everything else. You got to know what's beyond you, and that's why we have elders. We can't do everything. You can't get everything out of books or weekend certification. You can have the most powerful, ancient, oldest, most, as far as you know, truthful tradition in your hands. And if you still have a dirty spirit, you're not going to get anything out of it. you're not going to learn anything. You're not actually going to grow. I try to teach in a way where I make myself obsolete. That's always been my goal, to make myself obsolete.
I really wanted to, kind of big you up. I think you're awesome.
There's a lot of elders out here right now that want to know what's going on. They're not getting on Twitter and stuff like that, but they want to be up on the new stuff. Sit down and have some conversations with them. It's not always about hearing their story. It's also about being news reporters for them and letting them know, like, yeah, this is what's happening right now. They may tell you something about what happened in Charleston that you couldn't even. Your spirituality has to create the same spiritual family. Okay, and that family exists first inside of you. You have to express the different expressions of that rainbow coalition of spirits inside of you first. Okay, don't let communities hijack that rainbow. The problem is when we come into the conscious community, the dudes are doing the same thing that the women are doing.
I just want to say that I really enjoy your show every Sunday, and my friend and I call it going to church. When we call him, we'll be like, "You going to church?" And I'm like, "Where have y'all been at?"
God cannot go against its own truth. So anytime you have an inkling that God is going against its own truth, then God is no longer behaving as God. So therefore, the spiritual community doesn't recognize God. You dig where I'm coming from? Or can we have a new thought? Can we step outside of the books for a second and have a new conversation about hair weaves and wigs? Can we have a new conversation about homosexuality? Can we have a new conversation about vegan eating? We do. It's a good day for exorcism.
All right. Greetings. Peace, everyone. Welcome to Chief Speaks on Enlightenment and Transformation. Of course, this is Chief Yuya speaking to you. And we have a real nice little pleasurable divergence today from how we usually do things. And yes, Anwar, I am outside. I have a different kind of sound set up today, so that's why you might be hearing some background noise. If it's too distracting, just let me know. I'll readjust. It's a little wind going around. But yeah, welcome everyone. Those of you who are tuning in live, I see the chat room. We got a bunch of folks already giving their salutations and all that stuff to each other already. So that's good. And of course, as always, I see Brother Jabari. We were just asking about you. So Brother Jabari is here. So to all of you archive listeners who are listening in, maybe months from now, maybe even years from now, let me just welcome you, because in the realms that we explore and we travel, there is no concept of time. This truth is not bound by gravity. So when we're able to move beyond gravity, we move beyond time. So welcome right now. Even if you're listening, let's see, what are we in? This is 2017. I'm bad with dates. So even if you're listening in 2025, you're here right now with us. All right. So I welcome all of you who may come in later into this experience. So today I have an experience that I think you all are going to enjoy. I have one of our new students, in fact, a new student over here raising the roof, and by the name of Summer. Some of you may be familiar with that. I think you have communicated with some of her, communicated with her at some point, some of you. But she's here with me, and the reason that we're switching it up a little bit is because she had some questions in regards to, I guess, her learning.
A lot.
Okay.
A lot of questions.
Okay, cool. A lot of questions in regards to her learning. And she happens to be linked with a very, very, very good brother of mine. And, membership in the clan has its privileges, So through him, I told her, I said, yeah, tell her to come on by and I'll bring her on the show and she can go through her questions. And most likely, because as it usually goes, some of the questions that she probably has are some of the questions that some of you all have as well. So I thought it'd be a nice little divergence. I know sometimes maybe some of you maybe even get tired of me teaching so much for free. But anyway, so we're gonna bring Sister Summer in, and we're going to get right into her questions. I just want to give a quick announcement. You know, we have the men's call today at 1 p.m. So all the brothers in the ministry, you know, be sure to tune in for the men's call. Same number, same time. As for the sisters call, you know what I had to do about that recently. I've spoken on it. I don't want to sullen our dawning with going. Actually, sullen is actually the wrong use of word, because to sullen something is to darken it. And, you know, in earlier times, the Moors were called sullen, you know, very similar to your word soot, where you get shit, you know, but soot being that blackened, sullened, or carbonated. So we are going to carbonate the dawning, but we're not going to talk about the women's group. So, but it's coming back soon. But in any event, you know, there is a men's call today at 1 p.m. I think, I could be wrong, I think Brother Anwar is actually facilitating it. So, you know, you definitely want to tune into that, or call into that, of course. And, you know, all month long, we've been dealing with the concepts of power and power dynamics and power relationships. And in particular, we started off the month by dealing with the divine energy of Shakti, and, you know, showing our comparison of how authority moves through the masculine principle, but power moves through the feminine principle, and how that dynamic plays itself out in the cosmos, and of course internally. So, you know, we're going to get into these student questions, but, you know, we're still on our theme of power and making things happen, and potency. And so we'll loop back around into certain things. I think you're going to enjoy it. All right. So I saw Sister Sequoia earlier. I was looking at the chat, and she said, I have my notebook and pencil ready. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. You know, be ready to take notes and digest and take it serious, because, like I said, nothing is forever. All right. At any moment, SWAT could swoop in on me and carry me off to Guantanamo, and all you have is the old classes to you know, feed off of, man. So never think anything lasts forever. Or I may go back into the music industry and end up being a teen idol. You know, and if that happens, I'm also gone. I'd rather do that than do this, because that's more fun. All right, everyone. So yeah, we're going to get right into it. Sister Summer, I'm sorry. I probably said Summer twice already, right?
No, it's okay though. I like Sumer as well.
All right, so I'm going to use them interchangeably.
Okay.
All right. So I'm here with my brother Ishmael, Coach Cato, and Sister Summer, and we're going to get into some of her topics and her questions, and we're going to weave that in and out of our subjects. And feel free to comment. She can't see the chat, but I can see it. So feel free to comment, questions, so forth and so on. So Sister Summer, why don't you introduce yourself? And you always cracking jokes. Why don't you introduce yourself and let people know how you came to this information?
Well, hello, everyone. I'm my name is Summer, of course, as he already stated.
She's so precious.
And, I know. I am, though. I am truly. It was actually a long journey how I kind of got here. I think it all started with the passing of my mother, and I just always had a lot of questions, and you know, into different, you know, religions. And I just felt like so something was not right. I always had these questions ever since I was younger. And I just actually ran into another spiritual friend who asked me a very interesting question. And that kind of like started me on my journey. And so from there, I just started like kind of fishing. And I'm seeking knowledge. And I started studying, you know, our culture, and boom, 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 you know, as the years went on, I met Mr. Ishmael over here, and I'm like, listen, I want to know the truth. I need to be the greatest version of myself. And that was kind of it. And so he said, well, listen, you know, he's like, my friend, you know, Haru can definitely put you on the right path. And so here I am. That's the short version. I didn't want to be too long with it.
No, that was tight.
Thank you.
That was tight. My brother Ishmael is Summer's man. She left that out.
Okay.
They together, y'all.
Yes, indeed.
They together.
Yes, we together.
All right. So that's an important aspect, because, you know, I always speak about the responsibility of the man in terms of being that expansive and that that electric energy that shines light and provides the authority and the connectives back to the source. Power is going to be there. Power is going to be, it's a causeless cause, unto itself, but it's that man that pushes and seeks for definition, and a lot of times through relationships creates those family bonds. So brother Ish, who's here with us, he's playing the background, but I always speak about the value of kinship bonds, and this is someone I consider to be a brother. So through our kinship bond, he was able to bring someone else into the information. So you see there's a great value there, just in that. And when we start to create those webs and those linkages like that, it's beautiful, because she's sitting here next to me, and as many of you know, that's something that would not normally happen. All right, so let's get into your she's got a purple notebook here, so
yes,
I know whatever she's going to ask me is probably going to be heavier than I want it to be, because the notebook's purple, y'all. All right.
No, this is actually all of my notes from the classes and the book.
Okay.
So my first question is, though, really, what do you think is the first thing we should start off with as far as a student? And I know you suggested that we read the Shrine and Altar book, which I thought was absolutely fantabulous. It really opened up my eyes. And I tell Ishmael all the time, the way that you write, and you even said it in the book that you really want to make it clear and have a perfect understanding, so there won't be any questions. And I honestly can say that's true, with the exception of stuff that I just don't understand whatsoever.
It'll come later.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. But my first question was, in grasping, the first thing you talk about is the Ori. I'm a little bit confused. What, because you in the book you say that your Ori chooses you. No?
No.
Okay.
You choose your Ori.
Okay, you choose your Ori.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does that mean exactly? I don't.
To choose your Ori. It's like choosing your destiny. So we recognize. Sequoia says her spiritual notebook is purple too.
Yay!
Aw. So mine is black and leather bound.
Oh gosh.
And has chicken blood and feathers all over it. Step it up, y'all. Savage priest in the house. So the thing is, when we speak about you choosing your Ori, there's a recognition and a ideation there that your life didn't begin just with the coming together of material substances. So in the same instance, like where we say a lot of times, our people have been here for billions of years. Sometimes we always make the assumption to think we've been here physically for billions of years, but there was an immaterial life before the material life. So in that space, you still had consciousness, you still had choice, and you still had the power of will. So you willed yourself into being. So it had to come from somewhere. Just make sure everything's cool and think. So it had to come from somewhere, right? So when we say you choose your Ori is the container of your destiny. Okay. So start there, right? So you choose your destiny. All the garbage, all the good stuff, the whatever came. All right. And I know that's very difficult, because for some people they say, well, I was born into a really messed up family.
Right.
This and that.
Right.
It always comes up.
Yeah.
And they say, you mean to tell me I chose that?
Right.
Yeah, you did. Your nasty ass uncle who came into your bedroom at night.
Right.
You chose that. Your absentee father, your mother who always tried to play guilt trips on you, your mean sisters, the poverty, all of that. You chose that. Ultimately, those are all transient experiences anyway. So let's get back to the choosing of the Ori. The choosing of the Ori is the choosing of the head. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Now, ultimately, it's through your head formation that your destiny is defined. The reason being is because your destiny and your road is defined and determined by the choices that you make. See, a lot of times when we say destiny, we assimilate destiny with fate, and they're not the same thing.
Okay.
Fatalism or the idea of going to a fate actually really means to speak. When you break the word down. So to have a certain fate is you're speaking about what you've spoken to existence determines your fate. So words determine your fate, thoughts determine your destiny. Okay. So when we say the Ori, oh, you taking notes, bro? Oh, you don't need to take no notes, man.
No, because it was just something I wanted to interject. That's what I
Oh,
was.
okay, yeah, okay, yeah, man. We group discussion.
If I may.
Of course, but so yeah, the idea there that we're choosing our ori or we're choosing our head, there's it's a container.
Okay.
So what's contained inside of that? Your family, your environment, your gender, your race, or your race classification. And again, as I always say, when I say race, folks, we got to move beyond color coding. Okay, so not just black or white or whatever, because you could be a white black, or you might be a black white. Like I said, you cannot. I don't care what you say. George Carlin was a black man. All right, so you say whatever the heck you want, and I am a race trader. All right, I know we don't like that term, but I am willing to trade George Carlin for Raven Simone. I will give Raven Simone to the whites, and we want George Carlin.
I agree with that.
All
Totally.
right, we with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thumbs up on that one.
And the other little crazy one. What's the little crazy one that died? Amy Winehouse.
Oh.
I want Amy Winehouse.
Mhm.
She needs to come over here with us.
Yeah.
And we'll give who we'll give Amy Winehouse. David Clark.
Yes.
Stacey
I
Dash.
was about to say
Good
that.
one.
Stacey. Oh,
Good one.
please.
She gotta
please.
go. Yeah. So so the idea there. See, I knew it was coming. Somebody already said it. I knew it was coming. Dark Angel, I didn't choose to be molested as a toddler or raped 3 years after that. So explain that. Exclamation mark. Well, let's do this, Dark Angel. Don't you ever talk to me with an exclamation mark at the end. Who the hell you talking to like that? You explain it to your goddamn self. You talking to a man and you talking to a chief. All right? So if you want to get some truth, I'll give you the truth, but I don't respond to that. So back to what we were saying. So the idea there's certain things that are contained in there, right? That you choose before you come to the planet in order to fulfill the question that you need to fulfill when you get there.
Okay.
Or when you get here, when you formulate. So choosing the head is choosing all of the components that are needed, even in terms of your Orisha energy, all of the components that are needed in order to fulfill your purpose.
Okay.
That's the choosing of the head or choosing of the Ori. And sometimes you choose a good one, sometimes you choose a not so good one. And it's through your development of character that you're able to, make a bad one a good one. Yeah.
So even though we choose the Ori before we get here, once we're here, we can alter through what you're saying, fate, which is our words and our thoughts.
Thoughts first, because remember the order is always soul, spirit, thoughts, emotions, or you could say soul, spirit, thoughts, words, emotions, and then gross matter, action, or body.
Okay, now what's the difference between the soul and spirit?
The soul spirits are transient. So right now we're sitting here, we're learning, we have the spirit of learning. Okay. Right now, once we get up and leave, unless we continue to feed the spirit, we'll probably get into something else. If I brought some drinks out, we'd have the spirits of celebration. So spirits are fed, spirits live and die. The spirit is not eternal. Right now we're in June, and around December, it'll be the spirit of Christmas, right? Mm-hmm. And people will be feeding into that spirit. But by time March comes, ain't nobody thinking about Christmas. So the spirit goes back down. So spirits can be fed and they can be deprived. However, the soul is eternal and unchanging. So that's the aspect of you that doesn't have the character of spirit. Like some people have a feisty spirit, some people have a calm spirit. Mm-hmm. Soul is baseline, it doesn't change. It's boring, essentially. Mm. Okay. So when we a lot of times when we think about soul, like we say James Brown got soul, yeah, he's expressing, but
that would be more like he has spirit.
Yeah, spirit. Okay. Spirit of funk.
Spirit of funk. Okay.
And it changes. Funk changes, music changes. The idea of that we have about ourselves or even our ancestors. Like a lot of times when we do work with our Egun or our ancestors, we're doing work with their spirits, not their souls, because you're only really going to get an understanding of their spirit. And we have so many spirits that live inside of us at one time. Like I can be angry. Just now I was stern. I said, no, you can't talk to me like that.
Okay.
That's one spirit. But then I may crack a joke 3 seconds later, which I probably will. Okay, because
Yeah.
that's what I do.
Mhm.
So there's a multitude
Okay.
of
I
spirals
understand.
of
Okay.
energies that exist inside of you. So even when you work with your ancestors, you only know the part of grandpa that you knew. You didn't know him when he was running numbers and shooting
Right.
guns out of windows,
Right.
down south. You knew him when he was giving you candy on Sundays and putting $5 in your hand saying, here, happy birthday. That's a spirit. And that may be the spirit that you worship later, or not worship, but venerate later. But there's a whole bunch of other ones.
So how is it that when people say you feed the soul is constant, then what is it? Is it a constant state of what type of being? Just being?
We don't know.
Okay.
Nobody
Okay.
knows.
Okay.
Anybody who tells you they know is lying.
Okay.
The soul is unfathomable. And the truth is, we're not experiencing any type of soul revelations here. We're experiencing the reflections of the soul.
Okay.
Your soul doesn't even really exist on the planet. You're reflecting the soul. The soul is out there somewhere, or in there somewhere, or down there somewhere, or just somewhere other than here. So we reflect that soul energy like a star reflects light, and it reflects that light down on earth, but it's not necessarily here. It's through the spirit that we take on different characters to be different things at different times. But the soul is like just pure light.
Okay. Okay.
But it doesn't want anything, doesn't need anything.
So it is just is.
It just is. That's as far as we can get with it.
Okay.
Can you contact that soul through meditation?
Can you contact your soul through meditation? Absolutely. Now, that's what you're always supposed to do, whether it be through meditation, whether it be through deeper thought. Meditation, typically the purpose of meditation is to control thought.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, through meditation, we tend to observe thought, and we think the observation of thought is transcendence.
That's interesting you say that, because meditation is oftentimes so very difficult for me, even though I practice trying to do it every single day. But I have like a plethora of thoughts that just are continuous, and no matter how much I'm like, okay, go back to the light. I just, for some reason, it's difficult for me, and
because you think it's difficult, so you're fighting it. You got to let the thoughts flush out like a toilet.
So do you let them come to you?
Absolutely.
So then what do you, once they come, you kind of like dismiss them and then go back to the light?
No, sometimes you have to entertain them. Sometimes you
Really?
explore them. Yeah. What would it like to be a caterpillar? All right, let's go there. Come on. Let me insert my consciousness into it. I'm gonna give the all of it. Sometimes you might meditate, and while you're meditating, a bug may come on your arm, and it may act like it's gonna bite, or it might bite you. So now you can use that opportunity to whisk it away, or you could completely absorb yourself into the bite, which always makes it go away. Whenever you give something your full attention, you give it your God self, it changes it. It's no longer what it was before. It's like staring at somebody and then they drop their gaze. Now you become the hunter.
Okay.
But you have to let those thoughts flush out. You have to let them just keep going through you and flow through you until they've ran their course. Thoughts are products of spirit. So the more thoughts you have, the more elemental spirits you have going on with you. That's all that is.
I could agree with that.
And you don't want to ignore your spirits, because when you ignore them, they become what people like to say is demonic. But demons are really just ancestors. But ignored ancestors can become a problem too. Sometimes you got to tell grandma, I'm not doing that. Stop urging me to go back to church. All right. I know you're in the ancestral realm, and I gave you a candle, I gave you some water, but you had your chance, grandma. It's my turn now.
That's a whole nother set of questions I have about the ancestor shrine, and because I don't know if I'm doing it correctly as far as just placing the pictures, placing the white candle. But again, with my own thoughts that are coming through, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I don't know who is speaking, whether it's myself or I'm hearing from my ancestors or spirit. I feel like I'm all over the place.
What's the difference
between the ancestors and
you?
Because I have like a shrine to the Orishas as well.
What's the difference between the ancestors and you? You said you don't know if it was you or them.
Well, I guess we're all one and the same. But I mean, as far as like voice, so all of them are. Even if they're speaking to me, it's still the essence of me, is what you're saying.
You hear the birds right now?
Yes.
Can you distinguish them?
No.
So they all sound like
Yes.
they all sound like that.
Yes.
Well, there's your problem. You got to learn frequencies. Pick up an acoustic instrument.
Ah. Okay, I have like a kalimba at home.
That's a thumb piano.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dark Angel said, apologies if I came off like I was attacking. Actually, it was panic. Okay, well, sometimes when you panic, you got to pull back because you won't get what you're supposed to get. I'll help you, Dark Angel, but you're here to learn. You're not here to demand anything of me. I won't give it. I'm too special for that. Too special, too charming, too intelligent, too musical. And you know what? Too damn sexy. I'm too damn sexy for your demands.
Right.
We need the house music or the club music for your demands. Nah, I'm joking with you. I told you I might joke 3 seconds later. I'm schizophrenic spiritually. So yeah.
I don't know what I am if that's
So
the case.
you have to learn how to distinguish the frequencies. See, that's what birds allow us. That's why they're so sacred to our spiritual arts. You know, in any system you have, whether you go to Kemet, whether you go to South Africa, even in Buddhism, native culture, you always have this birds, the great bird, the great eagle, the great hawk. Mm-hmm. You know, in Yoruba we have the Awonileye, which means the owner of the birds. Those are the mothers, the Iyami. They're called the Awonileye. But what is the significance of the birds? Birds represent the multitude of frequencies. Frequencies. The world was created through frequencies. You were created through a frequency. So when all those frequencies, see, I have a theory. I have to work on it. I have a theory that flowers won't bloom if the birds don't give off their frequencies. Because it's the birds that encapsulate and help to create the day. So if all the elements are not there for the day won't actually happen. Just theory. I'm working on it.
Okay, so in meditation, deal with our thoughts. Are we talking to these thoughts as well in thought? If I mean, for me, I can go back to a fight I had back in, elementary. It's like, you know what, I should have knocked them out instead of, having conversations. It's like, why are those thoughts still there? What is it asking me to do? You
haven't resolved. Well, let's start this. What's it? Yeah.
What's it?
Mm-hmm.
Like the thought.
Okay, where did the thought come from?
I guess it had to come from me, my experience.
So the thought is your child.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So you created the thought so that you would respond differently when it comes back around again. We exist on different planes. So whenever we lock ourselves into the idea of material bumping against material creates life, and we forget about the phenomenon of creation, we forget about the immaterial that happens before the material. So your thought experiences are experiences. The mind doesn't know the difference. Right? I mean, we have the suspension of disbelief. You can watch a movie on slavery and start crying.
Right.
You wasn't never on no plantation. You don't know what that's like. You probably never even seen a cotton plant.
But I feel it.
You feel
somewhere.
it. You feel it somewhere.
I did cry my eyeballs out at the last one at the
Nate Parker.
Yeah, cry my eyeballs out. Yeah.
Because you thought you were on the plantation.
I did. I felt as though I was on the plantation.
Well, how do you know you weren't?
I don't know, because I felt it so deeply. That's what I'm saying. Maybe I was.
In that moment.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what those thoughts allow you to do. It's a gift. It's like temptation.
A gift?
Yeah, it's a gift. So you get to play things out and resolve them without actually physically going through it. That's a gift.
Okay.
It's like if a woman walks by right now, right? And she looks like trouble. And I say, man, I should go, kick the Willy Bobo. Right? But then I sit and I think about it and I say, okay, I'm gonna go up to her, I'm gonna say this, da. She looks like this, and I play it out in my head and know exactly what's gonna happen. That's a gift. It's almost like in martial sciences. There's times when you may have a certain conflict with a person. Like I always say, I'll never get into a fight. And I'm the type of person, I'll make you try to laugh or something if you want to fight me. I'll just joke my way out of it. I don't want to fight. I'll talk out of it because I can do that too. But the reason why I'll crack a joke or I'll just try to talk my way out of the fight is because 9 times out of 10 I know I can kick a person's ass because I already worked it out in my head. Somebody can't say, he's standing funny. I might look at how he's standing, how he gesticulates. Maybe he's a loudmouth, so all his energy is coming from here. And I say, well, I already know this is not a warrior. So let me play it out in my head real quick. And thought is the fastest thing in the universe. It's faster than the speed of light. So I'll play it out in my head, grab his leg, break his ankle, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, I won that fight.
That's kind of like what you see in like martial arts movies. It's like you always
Where
see them
pauses,
play,
right, and he
pauses,
play it out.
and they play it out, and then all of a sudden he does everything
That he thought about.
Right. Okay.
So the gift is to not actually do it because I already did it. So it's the same thing when you're dealing with those errant thoughts that keep coming up in your psyche. It's a gift because perhaps you didn't respond. Like you said, I might have had a fight when I was in elementary school. And there's something that led up to that moment. Maybe it was a lack of respect of your own personal boundaries. Maybe you didn't feel a sense of ownership about yourself, so you let people do things to you that they shouldn't have done to you. Maybe there was transference of emotions. You were feeling something about someone else. So when you're able to go through it in terms of your mentality, it gives you that opportunity to respond differently, because you can recreate your history that way. I had a sister, real strong Oshun sister years ago. She had 3 children. And she wanted me to be those children's father so bad that she was like, after a while, she was like, those are your children. I said, huh? Those are my children. Those was homeboys. She was like, no, we had them right out of high school. Like she had the whole history down. She was like, no. And when I was, and this is how we met, and this is where we had them, and I was like, yeah, I know what you're trying to do, but we have to sign that contract together, and I'm not signing that contract. But had we have signed that contract together, I bet you anything, over the course of time, those children would have began to look like me and behave like me. They would have become my children. Because if time is a cyclical thing, can we not go back in our thoughts and change events of the past, which will now change the present? Because the present is only dictated by how we're thinking about it. You probably have scars on your body that you've had since childhood.
Yes, maybe one.
Okay.
I had to think about it for a second.
But we know within 3 to 5 years, all the cells in your body and everything regenerate. So that means you should no longer have any of those scars. You're older than 5 years old, right? So you shouldn't have those scars unless you are thinking that you should still have that scar. Subconsciously, you haven't resolved the scar yet.
That's deep. I like that.
Yeah, you like it until you start thinking about them scars.
No, because I only have like one. I don't really have like.
So you got all the other stuff.
Because I made sure that I did not get any scars on my body when I was younger. I didn't like it. I don't like imperfections on my skin.
What about the ones in your brain?
I'm trying to get rid of those too, and that's why I'm really asking about this meditation. So because sometimes I feel like I'm going insane with my thoughts. So now that you explained it, from now on, when I have these thoughts, I'm going to recreate a different scenario.
Yeah, like you did when you were a little girl. Remember when we used to like just sit and play with our imagination, and then we stopped because we were told to stop dreaming all the time.
Right.
Yeah, they screwed us up with that. That was our opportunity to live everything, because there's different planes of existence, and the thought plane is no less valid than the physical plane.
I oftentimes find myself going off anyway. I'll just sit and zoom. And you ever see like the movies where it's like your eyes gloss over and you're just completely in a vision? Yeah, I do it all the time. So I still have my imagination, I guess, intact. That's
also showing you all the places you exist.
Really?
You couldn't zoom someplace if you weren't actually there.
Really? That gives me that makes me feel so good.
Like
let me fly somewhere right now.
Yeah. Like, okay, there's a tree behind you, right? I could tell you, put yourself inside of that tree. You could do it. I know you could.
I could.
You could shift your consciousness to really look at it and say, what would it be to be inside of it? Not just the outer, but inside that tree. What's the world inside of that tree like? Now, the only reason you're able to do that is because you're already in the tree. See, when we talk about shifting consciousness, we're just shifting awareness. Like sometimes I used to see that, because I've been doing yoga since I was young, or did yoga when I was young. And sometimes they would tell you to breathe from different places. As a child, because I did when I was a child, kind of like breathe from your feet, from the soles of your feet.
Yeah.
What the heck does that mean? As a child, but then you start to realize that breathing from the soles of your feet essentially means breathe and put your awareness into your feet. So you're shifting your your awareness to different places, but it can happen outside of your body. That means you already are there. So even that incident you had as a child, you know, the fight or whatever, you still exist there. Just like when you put an ancestral shrine up,
Right.
they're gone, but they still exist there. And you use that shrine as a focal point to bring their awareness there whenever you need them. You put things you want, they want tobacco or some, you play music they like or something like that. But it's so that they can shift their awareness there, their spirit awareness.
Okay, so in meditation, would
Mhm.
you recommend just stillness, quiet? I mean, because there's so many different things. They have guided, you know, you can listen to frequencies. Do you think that we should do, you know, some chanting? Or is it really just about just being still and quiet and going into these thoughts and recreating a different?
Who told you to meditate?
Who told me?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just from things that I've read. Everyone says you meditate, 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 meditate. Everything that I've read or researched is always meditation is key. Meditation is key. So I'm like, okay, let me try to quiet myself.
Stop meditating.
Stop meditating? Oh, this is so confusing. Like
I
my
know.
brain, like
I know.
it's too much. I'm like, what do you mean stop meditating?
Who says that's your way?
Well, I mean, it seems to be like an overall consensus that we should meditate.
It's also an overall consensus that Christopher Columbus discovered North America.
That's true.
Yeah. And that we live in a two-party government. People overall are foolish.
Oh, this is true.
So let's try this. What do you do that strips you from the weight and the heaviness of your body?
Normally,
I know one of them, so don't be fresh.
Right.
I can tell already. I see that aura
exactly.
coming out. I see all
Over
that
here
root
like-
chakra stuff, and I know who you with. You with my brother, so I already know.
I'm innocent over here. I don't know what you're saying.
Okay.
For me, I love music. I
Okay.
love to dance. I love
Dance.
to dance. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I can dance.
Yeah. And you do realize that was the first question you asked, but you asked the question and then you messed it up by combining it with another question. When we first started, you said, what should we do as new students? That was the first question, and I was about to answer, but you kept going.
Oh, okay.
That would have fixed all this other stuff you asked after.
Oh, really?
You already had the answer, dance. Because
Dance.
what does dancing do?
Invoke the spirit.
Forget all that extra stuff. You being too
No,
complicated. You being
but
too
that's
deep.
what it does. It's spirit. Well, we
Forget
talked
all
about
that.
this earlier. We talked about
Make it
happiness
simple.
and breaking it down. What does it do?
Yeah.
Makes you feel good.
Okay. How?
I don't know, the music, and I don't know. I just something in my soul that responds well to it.
I ain't none of that crap.
Well,
When you dance,
you said crap.
you move yourself out of mathematics.
Oh, no, how do you consider that less complicated than what I said?
It's way less
I wouldn't have
complicated.
came
There's
up
no
with that at all.
calculation. Yes, you would have. Michael Jackson taught us that.
Okay.
I saw him in an interview once, and he was really speaking against the way people teach dance nowadays. And he said, you know, what they do is they tell you, you know, start on the 1, 2, 3, then put your foot here and put your foot there. And he was like, then that's terrible. That's not how you teach dance. He was like, you have to feel it. You have to feel it.
Yes.
So what he's saying, and that was a deep thing he shared with us. He's saying dance moves you outside of the realm of calculation. And once you move outside of the realm of calculation, you're not thinking. See, when you're truly learning something, you stop thinking. That is meditation. When yeah, you be going to a trance.
Yeah, because that's what I feel like when I dance. Like I'm in a different place.
Because you're learning something. You're learning about your limits, but you're not thinking to learn. It's just like when I'm teaching a class and I'm really going in and I'm, you know, I got my teacher steroids and I can see that the glossed over look on everybody's face. They become stupefied because I'm creating a tornado where I suck all the thought out of the room. When you're truly learning, there is no thought. You're just open and vulnerable. You're receptive. You're yin energy. That's true meditation.
You don't know how like you have just really taken
Ruined your whole path.
No,
I'm joking.
You opened it up, and like I feel so like exhale because the meditation was driving me insane.
You can meditate while dancing.
Right, it's moving meditation.
But I don't have to have thought. I can just be in the dance.
You don't need the thought.
Because when the yogis do their yoga, which is intense.
Mm-hmm.
When you go
I hope y'all can hear, Brother Ish.
Can you hear me? When you go into a high-level yoga class, that movement is very intense. When you go into a high-level yoga class, that movement is very intense.
Mm-hmm.
And the movement and the various breathing exercises and the chakras you open up that connect to the various asanas, they open you up to a trance as you flow through it. So you detach the body while moving the trance, and that opens you up to where you need it to go, or where you can guide it to go, and it opens you up to what the soul is, or what the quote unquote God force is, the universal life force is within you.
Well, there you have it, folks. We're gonna be dancing all over the place now.
Everybody's yoga is different.
Well,
Right.
okay, so what you're saying is sometimes meditation can be the way for others, but everyone has their own way of.
Just throw out the word meditation, because most people don't know what it means anyway. We did a class. We have a class on the stoolhouse.com site on meditation to break it down. But a lot of times we use certain words as a part of our path to spiritual ascension, and they become, there's certain buzzwords that we don't even understand. Because what can we not say is meditative? See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look at the root of it. Medicinal. What's not medicinal? This conversation right now is medicinal. So, you know, sometimes we focus on certain words a little bit too much without proper understanding. And then it just frustrates us later.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, as newbies, you know, answering that question, start with whatever strips the heaviness of your human consciousness.
Okay.
For some, it's dancing. For some, it's let me just give it like this. Any primal art will do it for you. Any primal art, sculpting, music, fighting, of course, sexing, you know, dancing, of course, drumming, you know, anything that's primal, you know, playing the acoustic guitar, because what is it? Just wood and metal. That's it. Drums, what is it? Just wood and skin. So it replicates the same sound when that's a drum. I'm just hitting skin. It's primal. And hitting skins is another, you know.
Look, I'm trying to be really good over here. And
well, you don't want to just, you know, but I'm just saying, but those are primal things, you know. So anytime you tap into any type of primal art, it's going to be medicinal. It's going to be meditative. So just focus on the art. And everyone should have an art.
Okay.
You know,
that's such a breath of fresh air for me. So much burden been lifted off of me. No, I'm so serious, because I would sit and it was like meditation, or at least quieting and sitting quiet was like torture to me. Literally torture. And I'm like, I was still beating myself up because I couldn't be in this space of what they say is just clear, you know, no thought, or doing these chants. So do you recommend the chanting at all? Like the ohms and the yams and the
if it works for you.
If it works for you.
I chant.
Okay.
But I don't do all chants. There's certain chants, you know, you find your note, you find your frequency after a while. The chants that I like to do typically mimic the stuff that I like. Right? So one that I do Hindi chant is Rangang Kangan. Rangang Kangan, Mangang Kangan, Mangang Kangan, Mangang Kangan. I do it until it gets real nasally like this, and I'm Rangang Kangan, Mangang Kangan, and I just do it. I might do that for 50 minutes, right?
Wow, okay.
Because when you go to a blacksmith shop and they're pounding metal, that's the sound it makes. Rangang Kangang, that sound is meditative to me. The sound of trains is meditative to me. So sometimes I'll play my saxophone, or I'll play my harp, and I'll play it like it's a train, you know. Or if I'm playing my guitar, I'll play shucking sounds, because the sound of trains, it relaxes me. Like some people, it's rivers and it's oceans. I like oceans, but I'd rather sit at some train tracks.
Wow.
Yeah. Everybody's got their thing.
Yeah, I'm like, that's different. I'm like, wow, okay.
And it would even be nicer if I got a hammer at the train tracks, so I can hit the rails. King, 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 king. You give me that, I can do anything. So chanting is great, but find your chant. Om is cool. I use Om, you know, but I'd rather hear something getting beat up. I'd rather hear some metal. You know, something being, because it's the sound of transformation.
Okay.
You know, and it mirrors the pressures that we go through, especially as men in life. You know, your leadership is forged through your trials, not through your comfort.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for women, a lot of times the greatness of them is forged through their luxury, through their opulence, and through their comfort. So they may like the sound. You may put a bunch of brass bracelets on your wrist because of the tingle, because the tingle simulates the sound of water tingling through a stream.
Oh, maybe that's why I don't like it.
Okay.
No, I'm just because I'm trying to
Yeah.
think in my own mind, like sounds that
Do it for you.
you're right, that do it for me versus sounds that don't.
Right.
So okay, I'm all excited now. Like I'm gonna be twirling all through the house. I'm gonna twirl. They think I'm blasting music before now. I'm like, yes, I'm meditating. Yay!
Yeah, you find your note. There's so many different ways to meditate. There's a brother I saw. He said something about garden. I think it was Vivid Eye Publication. I saw it out the corner of my eye. But that's another one that I didn't mention. Gardening. Awesome form, you know, to really channel. You know, certain things you do, sometimes they remove you from yourself. You know, I remember years ago I was in was it St. Croix? I was in the Caribbean somewhere. I don't know, some island. I island hop a lot, so I don't remember where the heck I was. But I was going through a lot at the time, and there was an elder who was like, "Yo, I need you to bring back a conch shell." So I said, "Okay, cool." I'm out there, and I may have been in the water for like maybe an hour or longer because the tide was real low, so I was able to walk like into the ocean basically. And it was so funny. I got so far out. I had some sisters with me at the time. They were on the beach just doing a let's look fly thing, you know. And so I'm out there in the water, and I was so far out. At one point, I realized that I lost myself. It was such a great feeling because my one single aim and look at the size of that crow.
Right.
Oh, yeah, we got a witch in the house, y'all. And she bringing crows to my spot.
It's not
might
me,
be
I
her.
swear.
That might be her other part.
Oh, it just might be. I'm not.
Look at it.
Oh, look, see.
Ooh,
Don't
coming
talk
right up
about.
in the face.
Don't talk about me.
In the face. So yeah. So the thing is, in that moment, by having that single aim and that single goal, and thinking about nothing else, I wasn't thinking about how far I was going. I mean, I would have walked to Africa. You know, I was just going to keep walking, and having the single aim and a single mind of I got to get this conch shell, and not thinking about the sisters at the beach or did I drink enough? Did I nothing. Putting all of my focus and my consciousness into one space was meditation.
Now, when you say putting all your focus and your consciousness, was there a thought, or you were just enjoying what you were experiencing when you say that?
My whole body and being became the whole of get the conch shell.
Get the conch shell, you said?
Yep. He was like, "Yo, bring me back a conch shell."
Okay.
So I was going out looking for him in the water. But, you know, you first walk, you say, okay, where's the tide turning? Oh, the water's nice. Oh, look at these pretty fish. I hope a jellyfish doesn't get me. You know, you're thinking of all these things. Oh, let me check my pot. I don't have my keys on me. Right, good. Okay. And then after a while, you're not thinking at all. You become one with the movement of what you're doing. So it's almost like sometimes we do that when we're in a daze with life. We'll go home. We'll leave our job. We might get in a car, get on a train. And next thing you know, we're putting our keys in the door, but we can't remember how we.
Right. Yes. I've had several of those experiences. Just like, I'm like, did I lose time? Where did I go?
Sometimes you do. Because sometimes the movement itself becomes meditative, just getting on the train and this and that. But it's when the whole of your being is a part of it. So there's no separation. There's no distinction in that sense. Yeah, brother.
Or when you're doing something and it's so good to you that you look back and you go, where did the time go? Now I was practicing martial arts, brother, and it just seems like we've just been here for a half hour, but we've been here 3 hours.
Right. Yeah.
If you're into something and that happens to you, you need to do more of that.
That's a good example. We've done that, you know, and then checking the time. Oh, you know, because in that moment, what happens is you are escaping time. You're folding time and space, because you know those are constructs again of gravity. And when you start to understand that the divine lives outside of gravity because it's not beholden to a physical body, So if there's no gravity, there's no time. So once you start to do divine acts or function wholly with the divine mind, you start to do the same thing. That's why we have what's called CP time.
Everyone out there is like, yes.
Yeah, I knew I was
Yes,
God.
I knew I was right.
And I'm always late.
I ain't gonna never be on time.
But it's that functioning from that divine space that allows you to escape the trap. That's what it really is. So you might be doing martial arts, you might be cooking, you might be cleaning your house. For some people, that's what it is. It's the adornment, because each thing you're doing, we got a spirit for everything. We have a spirit for anything you want to do. We got spirits of fighting, we got spirits of cleaning your home, we got spirits for the inside of the home, for the outside of the home. So anytime you fully inject your consciousness into one of those lanes and you're all there, now you're functioning from the spirit world outside of time and space. You see, that's why you may leave your house or leave your job, and now you're turning your keys. Like, how did I get here? I don't remember even walking this way. Because you folded space and you folded time, because you might have been listening to a lecture. That's usually what happens, or audio tape, but audio tape on MP3, but you might be listening to a lecture or listening to some music that just transports you. Now you're in your God self or in your guru self. You're outside of time and space. You see, and the more you can do that, it can get scary, because sometimes you get stuck, and you'll have people walking around talking. You think they're talking to themselves, but they're talking to all the energies around them that you can't see.
Right.
So sometimes people get stuck there and they lose. But whenever you're doing a primal act, like the brother said, gardening, strong mind, strong body, fitness, exercise. I'm sure there's a bunch in here. I have to go through all of them, but any primal activity is going to do that to you, take you outside of that realm.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Knitting, cooking, and listening to music that has a heavy beat or bass or brass. Okay, yeah.
Okay. So again, boop. That meditation is thrown on out the window. I'm like, great. I was listening to one of your lectures. It might have been an old one, because I'm starting from the ground up, and you were talking about the 10-10, meaning with one with eyes open, one with eyes closed.
Sure.
Now, in, let's say, because they say that dream state is really reality, quote.
Well,
when you're dreaming,
what's reality?
Well, all right, that's why I was like, that little quotation, because I'm like, but what is reality? But they said that you can have a better understanding of self with eyes closed, and so that's more like who you really truly are in that state of being. Is that
none of that
true or not true?
That's some YouTube guru talk.
Okay.
If that was the case, you wouldn't have been given 3-dimensional sight.
Right.
So it's the interplay between Shiva and Shakti, or positive and negative, or masculine and female, that gives rise to the truth, or between what's right and what's wrong. So what's right is when you close your eyes. What's wrong when you open them? But neither one of them are the truth. Because
there's something in the middle
that gives rise to it.
Right.
Right. So it's just like having a child. You have a man and a woman who come together, right? And in between them, when they make that baby, it's the truth. The truth of what the relationship really is represented in that child. Sometimes you have a child that'll come out that'll feel dejected, feel that nobody wants it. Well, because that was the spirit that was existent in one of the parents or both of the parents when they created that child. You see, so the child will produce the truth of your true understanding. So it's the same thing with the 10. When you open your eyes, you see the world, okay? But you haven't processed it yet. So sometimes what we do, I'm just like, sister got some ants crawling. She's going crazy. We're about to kick the whole table and everything over.
I'm trying to be really, really
because of an ant. Okay. All right. So they working it out.
Okay.
But I got the citronella incense going. But yeah, so what happens is when you open your eyes and you see the world, you see the gross matter representation, but you're seeing the illusion.
Right.
But there's value in the illusion, because the illusion lets you know what the truth or what the actual essence of something is trying to say to you. So why does a river look the way it does? Because the spirit of the river is trying to explain to you what it can do for you. So we go to Oshun so that we can open up the flow of things in our life. We go to Oshun so that we can congregate and bring things and people closest to us. Well, that's what the river does, because nations are always built around waterways. You see? So we look at the wind, and we say, wow, the wind is beautiful. The wind is this, but this is the illusionary wind. The real wind I can see when I close my eyes, when I become blind. You see? So you're processing what you're seeing once you close your eyes. But through your processing and through your intake arises the truth. So what you process is not true. What you see is not true. When you combine the two together, then you're able to get closer to the truth. And what's so beautiful about it is that it keeps changing.
Right. That's what I was going to say. It constantly.
So the truth is never really the truth. It's just a perspective.
Because there's those that, that will say that what you dream is who you truly are. It's a representation of who you really are once you open your eyes.
Dreaming is journeying through the astral planes. The astral planes are nothing but a classroom. So you could go to high school and somebody could tell you you're lazy. I mean, I was told in school that I dream too much. Stop looking out the window. They always say that. You're always looking out the window. Yeah, because I already know everything you teaching. It's more interesting out there. But was I a dreamer? Yeah, sure. But I'm more of a visionary. But that fool at that time didn't know what the word visionary meant, so he called me a dreamer. But I knew I was better than a dreamer. So just like you go to the astral realms, you might get told something like that. But it doesn't mean it's the whole of you, because the astral realms are levels. There's astral planes. Anything that has a level is untrue. Fourth dimension, fifth dimension.
Right, I was about to say, they always say
in?
that it's 13 dimensions. And
it's a con game trick bag. Okay? Anything that has levels to it is fake.
Okay.
Just like you go to school. I'm a choker. I got my master's. Just different degrees of stupidity. The truth is you knew everything before kindergarten. And now we got to program it out of you over the next 14, 15 years. You knew what you were supposed to do. Now, the children who don't go through that, they get to hold on to it. Those are usually the autistic ones. They wake up one day and say, I'm a superhero. I'm here to save the world.
Right.
And you say, sit down, Johnny. You ain't going to say that. Eat your donut. But perhaps that was the one that was going to find a cure for cancer. Just because they're autistic doesn't mean they can't. In fact, they have a better chance of doing it because they don't have the seasoning of the institution,
So this is so much. My brain is like flip-flopping with so many different questions.
It's okay.
So it's like, well, where do we start? Because it's like we're using the wrong words, we're not taught to control our thoughts. So it's like now for us that haven't been molded, so to speak, in the right way, where do we start? Because it's like, me just having this conversation with you, some words that I've used are not correct because I don't even know the true understanding. So it's like, do we start just picking apart one
You are
word at a
now
time?
in the realm of enlightenment and transformation.
Welcome to Chief Speaks.
All music performed
I
and
do that
produced.
sometimes. I forget to hit the stop button. So the intro started. Sorry, everybody. So you said, where do we begin?
Yeah, where do we begin with like the deprogramming?
Where do you want to begin? What makes you most excited?
Gosh, what makes me most excited? I don't even.
You're thinking too much.
I do, and this is my issue because I do. I think way too much.
But you gave us the answer earlier, so why we were trying to reinvent the wheel?
We're reinventing the wheel again. Okay.
Didn't you tell us already what causes you to leave the heaviness of your human consciousness?
Yes, through dance and
so
music.
Why don't you just say that?
Because is that going to help me have a better understanding of the words that I choose?
Why wouldn't it? What is dance?
It's an expression of self.
What is self?
I guess your state of consciousness at that
point.
Well, it's a little about 50-50.
So you don't know?
Nah, not
okay,
really.
So just you and I sitting here talking about dance, it caused us now to have to explore what self is. See what it
Okay,
just
I
did?
got you. I got you. Okay.
Start with whatever makes you excited, because if you have anything that makes you excited and takes you beyond your human body, if you explore that by itself, it's going to teach you everything else. We could garden, we could plant some food right now, and I'll teach you everything about the universe just by growing some callaloo. We don't have to pick up one doggone book, not one. We ain't got to pick up a bottle of gin and give it to one small god. None of that stuff. We could just plant some callaloo. I'm telling you.
Listen. I don't doubt you. I don't doubt you at all.
We're all macrocosmic expressions of one expression, of one thing that's going on. There's only one thing happening. That's what Om represents. It's that sound of awakening. Om. It's just one thing. You know what I mean? And the further we get away from that one thing, the more we start dealing with duality. The more we think we have to come up with new fly answers every time somebody asks us something,
Right.
because we're getting farther and farther from the branch. I'll give you one answer every time. Go to court and have a situation, and every time they offer you time, say no. See what happens. I had a client like that years ago. Sister did some most stupid, backwards, behind stuff. Did some work with her. Was facing 15 years in jail. And she just kept going there and saying, no, I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that. Till eventually she got off with probation. 3 months of probation. They tried to give her, 4 years or 5 years of probation. No, no. So she went from 15 years to a couple years of probation, said no, and finally just took the 3 months.
Wow.
I only got to say one thing, because one thing is all I really need. You dig? See, that's the problem a lot of times. When we start to meander, sometimes we lose sight of our own character. What are you supposed to be in our community?
What am I supposed to be?
Yeah. And please don't tell me you're a healer. I'm tired
No,
of
I was
that
gonna
one.
say me. Whatever.
Nope, that's not good enough.
That's not good. Okay, that's not good.
We don't want no more
Healing
me's.
is
We got
out of the
enough me's.
question, and me is not good enough. Okay.
It's okay to say you don't know.
Well, I like
we
to
already
think
know
before.
you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, but I'm like, okay, maybe.
Why are you thinking?
Because that's what I do.
That means you don't know it.
Right.
Thinking and knowing are two different things.
That's very true.
Right?
Very true.
We ain't thinking anymore.
Okay.
We're done with thought.
All right.
We did thought last time.
We did thought last time. Okay.
Yeah. We just knowing now.
All right.
You know, like little children do that. They know how to do stuff. How would you learn that? I just know.
That's they.
You gotta believe them when they say that.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean?
That's true.
So
okay.
You know what your character and your purpose is. The problem is you have to strip away the layers around what it truly is. That's what your work is. So once you figure out what your character is, that's all you need to do. If I'm only here to farm, I don't need to learn about thermonuclear terrorism. I just need to know how to grow these beans and stuff and these peanuts. That's all I need. I don't need all that other stuff. You see what I'm saying? Because if I'm functioning within a community organism, then everyone has a lane. Everyone has a color of light that they're here to eject, you know, or project. Right. That's the purpose, the divine purpose, which creates the fullness. It's just like in Buddhism. We talk about the bodhisattvas, but there are no individual bodhisattvas. Even though they're presented like that when you do studies on Buddhism, there's one Buddha. So you talk about the black Buddha and this Buddha and that. There's one Buddha. So what that means is this. When you reach a certain level of enlightenment, you become Buddha. You don't become a Buddha. You become Buddha. So there's one Buddha. So that's why Buddha is in everyone and in everything. So it's the same thing within the communal setting. When you reach your level of character recognition and your purpose, then you become one with everything else, even though you're doing something different than the other one. You know, it's just like your heart is still a part of your body, and your heart and your liver have a different purpose, and they only do what they're supposed to do, but they're still a part of one functioning organism. Yes, brother. Yeah, go ahead, brother. You know.
And also, as a child, you come here knowing your purpose. The thing is that your parents, the society, they take you out of that purpose and they give you over to the system, and now you become the system's purpose. But when you come here, you know what your purpose is. When my kids came here, I know what both of my children's purposes were, because they showed me why they came here. And as a parent, you must understand why your kids come here, watch the signs of what they show you, and nurture that, and you'll save them a whole lot of headache.
Absolutely. That's one of the key things that are missing, you know. Lakeisha Sullivan, this is not the place for customer service. All right. Questions at ournewnation.org. Come on, y'all. I keep telling y'all about this. All right. Please. We on one thing. Questions at ournewnation.org. Send an email in, Lakeisha. Lakeisha, you always doing something funny too. You also missed your appointment. I saw the email about the appointment that you missed. Hey, let me tell y'all something on the side, man. Y'all gotta stop doing it. Don't make appointments with me. You get 3 reminders as well as text reminders when you have appointments with me. So getting an appointment, say, oh, I missed it, I didn't get a reminder. That doesn't work. I pay extra money to have text sent to you before your appointments with me. I pay for that extra, just so there's no, oh, I didn't get a notification. Y'all got to stop doing that. My time is very precious. So I'm going to put that out to you. And there's a term of services when it comes to that. My time is precious. All right. So I just want to say that. But that's where the customer service goes. All right. I done did that a lot with y'all, man. Come on. You know, this ain't the space. All right. So I want to, before we get into another one of your questions, I want to answer Dark Angel. Let me go back up to your full question after you flipped out. But I understand Dark Angel, because if I'm not mistaken, I think you in Jamaica, right? Mm-hmm. You know, Jamaicans are Nigerians. Got the same genetics. Fiery old. Mm-hmm.
The cons, yep.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Learn everything through antagonism. Can't just ask. So she said, I didn't choose to be molested as a toddler or raped 3 years after. So explain that. No, you explain it, Dark Angel. It's your life. But you did choose that name, Dark Angel Hex, didn't you? And then wonder why you got a dark cloud coming over your head. You chose that name for YouTube. So you're in Trinidad. Oh my God, he's even worse. Oh my God, Trinidadians are bonkers. Yeah, they bonkers. So here's the thing. You did choose it. You explain it. Why would you choose it? Why would you choose those experiences to be molested or to be raped or whatever happened to you? You know, a lot of times people like to throw up those experiences thinking that it shuts things down. That's not going to shut me down. We all been through some stuff. All right. So the thing is, we chose what we needed to go through in order to develop at the level that we needed to. The problem is you're identifying with your pain. You're making yourself your experience. So I was molested. I was raped. I'm a rape victim. I'm a molestation victim. See, that's the problem. And then let's look at where you came prior to that. Perhaps you were the molester. Perhaps you were the rapist. But, you know, that's where your past life readings come in. But what I'm saying is that it's all about character development, and we all need different things to develop our character. Some of us are older than others. Some of us are old souls, meaning that we're the hard-headed ones. We brag about it, about being old souls. When we have children that are old souls, we think it's so beautiful, but ain't nothing beautiful about having to keep coming back to this hell over and 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 over again. Right, you flunked. So you have to keep coming back, and each time you come back, the message has to be given to you in a more harsh way in order to corral your wild energy in. That's right. Every single time. That's how the world works. It's just like if I say something and I say it calmly, and you don't listen, I got to say it more stern and more stern, and then eventually you'll get a physical hard protocol. We have soft protocols and we have hard protocols. So just like everything that I'm telling y'all now, just like when you just said that a little rude thing earlier, put the exclamation mark at it, somebody already told you about your attitude. I'm not the first person to tell you. I know somebody told you. You see? But you have to keep getting these, you have to keep hitting these walls. And the thing is, you're strong enough to bust through the wall until you get that iron wall. That's me. And you ain't getting through that. So by the time you get to me, all of you who love this show so much and listen to this show so much, and thank you, Chief, you're changing my life in this, you all the hard-headed ones. Because what you were supposed to be able to get it from them sandal-wearing, incense-sniffing, white-wearing, barefooted gurus. You should have been able to get it from them. Well, you know, it's all about healing and growth, and the universe is opening up amazing opportunities for us to be the divine self that you're supposed to get it from them cats. but you had to get it from me, the savage, barbaric priest. That means your ancestors was like, this child just will not listen. Now we're going to have to take it down to the gutter. Or like in Nigeria, what my initiators used to call me was the swamp priest. That was their joke for me. Haru, you're just a swamp priest. Haru, you're a swamp priest. You know, and at the time I thought that meant, oh, that means I'm really getting down into it. And you know, you a gutter priest, and you're going to be here healing gutter people, hard-headed ones. So our experience in our lifetimes, our deaths will reflect our lives. And the consciousness that we carry on into our next life reflects the thoughts that we had in the life prior to it. So you come into your next life as a victim immediately as a toddler, 3-year-old, you're a victim. So somewhere you have taken on the victim mentality even in your life before. So you have to understand that in this life, you're going to manifest that same thing because that's the whole of your consciousness. If in your last life you was waiting for Jesus to come back, guess what you're going to be doing in this life? You're going to be still waiting for something to save you. If your last life you saw yourself as a victor and as a conqueror and as one who was accountable for self, then in your next life you're going to be the same thing. You're going to make some things happen. You're going to make some things move. Some of us are wounded warriors in our last life. You see? So some of us come into this life and now we have an opportunity to actually do something about what we couldn't do anything about before. We might have had a life before and somebody came and killed most of the people in our village or carried them off into ships, into chains. And all we could do was watch from the bushes. And we might have had 3 children strapped on our backs. And all we could do was run off into the hills to keep them children from getting taken. And we lived our entire life with that guilt and that pain that I couldn't help my people. I couldn't do anything when people came to take them away or people came to kill them. So when we go into the next life is what? As wounded warriors coming in with a sense of obligation, a sense of responsibility towards our community to do something. So when I look at the work that I do, it's not easy. It's hard. It hurts. Sometimes people do crappy stuff to me, despite what I give them. But I'm paying penance for what I couldn't do in my last lifetime. You see, the consciousness and the thoughts that you create as the whole of your being are what you take into the next lifetime. So whether you take it back onto the earth, or whether you take it to Mars or to Uranus or wherever you're going next, it's the whole of your consciousness that encompasses you. And that's why we learn these things that we're learning. So that, see, right, and you coming in with the victim thing. You're angry. So what are you going to be next lifetime? Angry. You're going to be one of them little children trying to break the bars on the crib. You see what I'm saying? So your job now is to heal now, so you can go into your next lifetime healed with an abundance of consciousness. That's how you become an elevated ancestor. That's what you want. You see? So no matter what, see, you know, here, let me give y'all this. There's hardly anything that you can put in this chat or email me that you've gone through that I haven't gone through. Very few. Like I told you, yes, I know the way I speak. People say, oh, you sound bougie and all that. Yeah, cool. I'm glad, because that means you don't really know what it was before. My brother here knows some of my legacy, some of my story, some of the horrible things, shaking his head. You see, there's very little that you guys have gone through that I have not gone through. You see, now why did I have to go through all that crap? You see, I've lost families. I've lost children. I've lost blood. I've been stabbed. I've been shot. I've been betrayed. I've been embarrassed. I've been incarcerated. Anything you can think of that you could say a horrible thing that's happened is happened to me. And I still get on this line and I joke with y'all and all of that stuff like that, because why did it need to happen? So my cold-hearted ass would have compassion for you when you shared your story. That's right. But I've been hardened by those experiences. So now when you share your story, I have enough sobriety. You're not going to tell me that you've been molested. And I go, oh my God, oh Lord, Jesus, you molested the baby. That's not going to happen. Because I've been hardened by my experiences into sobriety. So now I can give you some medicine. You see, so sometimes you go through those situations, my dear sister, because you're going to be called on to heal a nation. A nation of hurt people who've gone through the same exact thing. And no one else may not understand what they've gone through. So when you were sitting in heaven or in Orun or in another dimension, you said, damn, Look at all these children being raped, all these children being molested mentally, psychologically, spiritually raped, physically raped, sexually raped, because there's many ways to molest a child's innocence. And you sat in that unseen world and said, damn, I got to do something about this. I can't let this ride. No, somebody has to come back and be the Messiah, be the savior for these particular people. They have to be the spiritual archetype for those people who have gone through this. So in order to be that and to understand what they've gone through, I have to go through it. Because then I'll just be talking. I have to have the wisdom of it by actually going through it. So damn, it's going to hurt. It's going to be horrible. I'm going to be angry and all these different things. But if I can remember my purpose, I can go through it and remember why I said I need to go through it. So that I can be that savior. So that I can be that for those people. Like I said, be what your people need most. Not what the hell you want to be. Everybody want to be a healer. We may not need that right now. You see? And healing comes in so many different ways. Sister Gloria said, wow, I'm crying. This is good. Right. And look at what I'm doing. This is good. And you hear my punchy ass deep voice going off on the air. Because this is what you need. You don't need the, oh, you were molested and that's so horrible. And
very true.
Oh, my sister, come hug me.
Yep.
That ain't what you need.
Exactly. Yep.
You asked for it so that you could be the Messiah to your people.
Absolutely.
So you be that archetype of those who have gone through that. Just like when we look at Oya and we say, oh, she's the archetype of women who've been hurt. That's why we look at her in Voodoo and we say Ezeli Dantor. Ezeli Dantor has what? A dagger through her heart. That's an archetype. Who wants that? I told y'all when I got initiated to my Orisha, I wanted to get initiated to Oshun. My big rusty looking self wanted to be initiated. Picture me doing an Oshun dance. Knocking stuff over. I wanted to be initiated to Oshun because my life had been so horrible. And I was tired of fighting. I was tired of the war. I was tired of all these harsh experiences in my life that I finally wanted something fun. I wanted to come into the world, into a room and people smile. Not feel bad or feel guilty because I'm bringing so much harsh truth energy. I wanted everyone to want me around. See, nobody wants Ogun around unless there's something to be done. Then after he's done, just like Conan the Barbarian, he gets on his big ass horse and rides back out into the desert. We call you when you need, but we don't want you living in town. You're just too wild and you smell like blood. You see, that's me. So it wasn't my path. It wasn't my road to be able to be that or to be able to do that. It wasn't that, even though that's what I wanted. I had to go through hell in order to grab the keys of hell. So when you're in hell, I can say, wait a minute, I got a key for you. Like you look at the Matrix, you had what was it, the second one, the key maker. He had keys to everything. Imagine what that old Chinese man went through. So any hell that you bring up, a lot of y'all are incarcerated who listen to this segment. Been there, done that. I got the key to that. I can show you how to escape, and you got 15 years on your back. You got 11 years on your back, 10 years, 7 years, 3 years. I can show you how to still get out of that. Some of you are laid up in hospitals, man, leaking blood. I can show you how to get out of that. Went through hell to grab the keys of hell. That's your job, Dark Angel. That's what you come back. You understand what I'm saying? Don't come back with that victim stuff anymore. This is not the channel for that. You come back as a victor. I don't sit here and do this so that you can say, I'm angry about, F your anger. We ain't got time for it. Be angry later. Be angry in heaven. Okay? Here on the earth, you're here to fulfill a purpose. And in order to fulfill that purpose, you got to keep a cool head. If you don't keep a cool head, then your path and your destiny gets warped. There's no place for that. I want you to understand that. And I'm saying that out of love, my sister. I'm saying that out of love for you. Okay? I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't love you. Because there's better stuff that I could be doing. I got, as you see, unfinished projects all around me. Those who are sitting around me, they see it. But that's what you're here to do. And I understand. And for all of you who are going through it, who have gone through it, sometimes, family, we can't all be Shango. We can't all be Oshun. We can't be the archetypes of joy and revelry. Some of us are going to be the archetypes of pain. You see, some of us are going to absorb that, man. And when people need to tap into that or understand that vibration, that's why I always tell you your ancestors are the empathetic link. When I ascend to the ancestral realm, what is it that you could not bring to my shrine? You could bring anything to me. I've lived it, I felt it. Shango ain't felt it. Oshun ain't felt it. Oya ain't felt it. Obatala ain't felt it. Haru ain't felt it. Sekhmet ain't felt it. Because they've never lived in this physical existence. They haven't had the corruption of a human body. They haven't had the corruption of human experiences. You came to this nasty ass earth to be corrupted. You didn't come here to live out paradise on earth. It doesn't exist. You can only reflect paradise on earth so that you can set up your home for later. You came here to experience corruptions. That's the rapes, the molestations, the STDs, the betrayal, the mates who steal money out of your bank accounts, the white supremacy, racism, you know, all of it. That's what we came here to experience so that we could grow. You're not going to grow if you don't experience that. I'm telling you, you need some rain to grow. Now, I don't mean to beat up on you. I know my voice is punchy. All right. So I don't mean to do that. But sis, I love you. And if you was here, I'd be talking to you the same way. And no, I would not get up and give you a hug. I use tears for lubrication. I'd have a vial underneath your eyes. I'm joking. Yeah, I'm not really. Next question.
Oh God. Okay.
That's real. That's real.
Right that was definitely real. I mean, that spoke heavily to me. I mean, because as soon as she said that, I was like, wow. I mean, I've been there, done that too, sister. And it's funny because just what you said, we're piggybacking off of that. You know how many times I've like told, you know, my story, and sometimes, you know, I'm smiling and I'm like, yeah, this is what I went through. Yep, I was, you know, raped and molested since I can remember up until I was 13 years old. And people are like, well, why are you smiling? Like, why are you? I'm like, because it was my experience. I mean, I love who I am now. So all the things that happened to me shaped this being here. So I'm like, I'm not going to, I mean, before, of course, I was in the whole victim stage too. And I'm like, woe was me and all of that. But I had to realize, like, it didn't kill me. I'm still here.
Here's what you realize. I'm gonna show you what you did. And you don't even know. I can tell by your language, but I'm gonna show you what you did.
Yeah, what I did.
You died and you were born again.
Yeah.
The reason you can smile at it now is because it didn't happen to you. It happened to her.
That's right.
Ballerina.
whatever that entity, that archetype, or that who you called yourself, it wasn't you.
That's right.
So you can even cry. But you crying for that girl.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes there's a beautiful drum instructor. Remember the brother used to drum and had teach drum class in the bottom of the martial arts when we had downstairs? Kayende, good brother, man. He's always had a pipe. I was talking to him one day, man. We were talking about something about, you know, how parents sometimes just don't come through. And he was like, yo, you know, he was sharing a story, man. He started crying with me. He said, man, I remember, you know, my parents were never really there, whatever. But he said, man, when I was 5, man, I had this birthday party. And everybody was telling me, I had this party, it's going to be this, going to be that. They never throw me anything before, never did anything for me. And he said, I was sitting there waiting and nobody showed up. Not one happy birthday, not even after. Sorry, we missed it, nothing. Nobody came. You know, he was living with his grandmother. He said nobody even showed up. And he started crying. And he said, that little boy, that poor boy, talking about himself, but saying that poor boy. So he was crying for what the little boy went through. And he had grown beyond it and separated himself from that identity to the point that he could turn and look back and say, wow, that poor child.
Yeah.
See, that's why you can laugh and say, yeah, this is what she went through.
Right.
Me, I don't have those scars.
Yeah.
You see, now I can still cry for her. I can still feel for her, but I have those type of stories too. Some things some stories I share with my youth. And when I'm warning them about certain things, they're like, wow, Baba, how did you go through that? And I said, no, I didn't go through that. That idiot went through it. You know, I wouldn't. Do I look like somebody who would do something like that?
Right.
All right then.
Yeah.
You know, you've been reborn into a whole new, and that's what this thing is about. We keep thinking death only happens when we lose our bodies. But if our cells are regenerating, technically we are losing our bodies. So the mind can renew. That was the whole science of Osir. and his consciousness being cut up into 14 pieces and then distributed, and then the phallus being eaten by a crocodile. What that represented, the phallus represented his creative potential. The crocodile was Sobek. Crocodiles represent time. That's why in Peter Pan, Captain Hook is afraid of crocodiles. And if you look at the movie Peter Pan, there's one scene where he takes that wig off and he's all gray and everything underneath, which is it's his worst fear of growing old, because Peter Pan never grows old.
Right.
So crocodiles represent that passage of time. So when a crocodile takes the creative potential of Osir, it's saying through the battles and through the struggles of time, sometimes we lose our ability to regenerate. We get stuck in that identity. But his woman, or said, nah, man, nah. You can be better. Just like Nyla and the Lion King. Nah, Simba, you can be better.
Right, yeah.
Put them pieces back together, reassembled the fractured consciousness, and then got on them and wrote them. You know, made her own magical penis out of them.
Exactly.
You know, and then gave birth to light, or Haru, or that which is above. You see, so reassembling the consciousness is no easy feat, but that's the regenerative aspect. And Osiris always resurrects in the West. So that rising and resurrecting in the West represents death. That's transformation. So he rises through the ashes of his crappy experiences, of his death experience, of the things that killed him.
Right.
He doesn't resurrect in life. He resurrects in death. You see? So that's the thing. When you've gone through experiences like that, and you can look back and say, "Woo! Look at what happened in the East." I'm in the West now. Look at what happened in the East.
That's true.
You know, then you're able to really see, like, oh wow, I died. Sometimes that happens, man. Sometimes you go out in the street, man. You ain't paying attention. You texting or something. A car almost hit you. You died. Because we live in so many alternative realities. How do you know the car didn't hit you?
Sure.
You know what I mean? But there was something in your being that said, not now. This is not how I go. So the car hits you, but in your thoughts you say, I didn't get hit. I'm not signing that contract with you, driver. But everything changes from that moment forward for some people. You know, I've had people I had a friend I was talking to yesterday about this. He was homeless last year. I didn't even know. You know, I knew he was bouncing around. I thought he was just being a regular old nomad. And he was like, nah, man, I was in shelters. And he said, that experience changed me so much, man. He said, now I've never been happy. He's got his home. He's got a new job. And he said, man, I've never been happier, man. And he said, it's not because of the job and stuff. He was like, that time period really let me see what I needed in my life and what I didn't, man. You know, sometimes we got to die. Back in 2006, August of 2006, I lost my eyesight. I was blind. I think I told you. Did I ever tell you about that, brother? I never told you about that. Yeah, man. I was blind. Lost, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, the doctors. So you guys always hear me talking about going to the hospitals. I'm always helping people. This was the one time I've ever been in a hospital, and it was only in the emergency room, and they kicked me out. But I was bleeding from my eyes. Now, when I tell you, I ain't gonna say it on air, but there's something else around it, you know. Okay, I'll tell you. So some thought I was poisoned, but I lost my eyesight for 3 days, and I was bleeding from my eyes and had lost all motor control of my eyes to the point so I had to lay flat on my back to keep my eyes from falling around or moving around and dropping into my head. Went to all these doctors. They couldn't figure out what it was. They said, you have some form of subepidermal infiltrates, and we don't know what it is, but whatever it is the worst case of it that we've ever seen. And they took pictures to put me in all these different medical journals. And all I could do was lay on my back in the dark, because any form of light, my eyes were so sensitive to light, I had to cover up the lights on the DVD players and all of that stuff. You know, my eyes would start bleeding any light that hit them. So I'm sitting in a dark room on my back for 3 days. What does that sound like? That was in 2006. Came back out. When I came out of that finally, and I still have problems with my eyes as a result. Things look blurrier. Now, I have scarred corneas, as they call it. I got scar tissue back there. They still don't know how it happened, why it happened, or why it stopped. But I spent 3 days basically in a coffin. And when I came out of that situation, I saw the world differently. I did things differently. and that has not changed. And I realized later I had to die for 3 days. I had to go through my transformative period, and during that time I lost a lot. There were some things that happened in my life where things were stripped from me, and went things that I never have gotten back. So sometimes we have to go through those death periods in order for us to reawaken, or to rise again, or to resurrect with a new perspective. And we can look back and say, wow, what I was before that period is nothing like what I am now. There's been a whole rearranging of my molecules and of my innards. Sure, go ahead, bro.
I just want to say to the family, realize what you have in Heru as a teacher. Realize what you have around you when it's given, the gifts that are given to you, all right? Even in your times of pain and suffering, realize that these are gifts. If you see why your energies brought them to you, then you can do the most with them. So realize what you have here as a teacher in Heru, and how blessed you are to have him as a teacher, right? I'm an instructor, and I know a lot of times people take their instructors for granted, but never take the gifts that are given to you through your instructors for granted.
Give thanks. Give thanks, brother. Yeah, give thanks. Yeah, man. So transformative experiences, they're all over the place. You can grab them all over the place, but give thanks for that, brother. I saw you looking in your notebook. She got more to hit me with.
No, I was just going through my whole entire. I had so much. But when we were talking about the orishas, now that's another issue that I'm struggling with. Although I do have my shrine, and I have Oya and Oshun and Yamaya and Olokun. Is it because, from my understanding, is that we can take the essence of all of them at some point in time whenever we need them, so to speak. So like you were saying, like if we want things to flow in our lives, we call upon Oshun. For me, like Oya is like who I'm working with right now, because I'm like, I want her to just cut in and just cut and change and do some things. So do we have to always have them present on the shrine, or do we put them all there, or do we like have to rotate them?
Okay. You got bones?
No.
You don't have any
I
bones
have
in
the
your
cowrie.
body?
Oh, bones in my. I thought you meant like. Oh, yes, I have bones.
Ogun.
Ogun.
Are you breathing?
Yes.
Oya. You got blood flowing through your veins?
Yes.
Oshun.
So it's really just aspects of self that we can just call upon.
So they're
we
all
don't really
present
need
at all
the
time.
visual.
No,
No.
you don't need a shrine.
Okay.
But it helps to give us a focal point.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Like something for us to.
But you want to get to the point that you don't need a shrine.
Right.
That you
Okay.
take my shrine and altar book and give it to a teenager. Say, here you go. Because we are the shrine.
Right. Right.
You
Okay.
see? So the focal point are tangible focal points or tangible portals that we can pull things in and out of. Because sometimes we don't know how to shift our awareness into our lungs, or shift our awareness into our bloodstreams, or into our hearts, or into our different chakra points. So we may have a representation of the root chakra in shrine form or in altar form. The difference, a shrine is when you're enshrining or encasing a particular energy, which could be an experience. You can enshrine a molestation and deal with it external to you, because you're just enshrining an energy. And each thought pattern that you have, or thought form, is a spirit. So even your molestation experience, or your rape experience, or my losing my eyesight, is a spirit. It's a world, you see. So you can enshrine that. Now when you're altering, you use an altar to alter your consciousness.
Right.
So typically an altar is an ascension towards something. That's why usually there's steps on an altar. So but ultimately they're all just external representations of what's going on inside of you. So for instance, if you have an altar to Oya, like you said, and you go and give Oya some red wine, Oya just gave herself some red wine.
Right. So that's why I was saying to the other day when I was drinking, I was like, you know what, Oya, I'm just gonna drink
drink
this
it.
for
Yeah,
you.
I'm just gonna.
Like,
you can.
yeah.
But what's the intention?
Mm-hmm.
That's the key, because you can charge it. What is that wine supposed to be? What is that water supposed to be? You know, what are those candles supposed to be? That's why that book, Shrine and Altar, I break down what those different things represent.
Right.
See, a lot of times we don't get that. For instance, like I said, like I heard you say, you have a Yin and Ya shrine as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing as Yin and Ya.
No.
Mm-mm. That's Spanish.
Mm.
It's Yimon Ja.
Oh, Yimon Ya.
Ja.
Ja. Yimon Ja. Yimon Ja.
Spanish language, they don't say the J's, they say Y's. Instead of John, it becomes
Ja.
Juan.
Okay.
You see? So that by itself, that means you have something that you have in your house that you ain't even.
Not even. Yeah.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. A lot of times we start to add these things. We say, oh, this is good for this is good for that, that's good for that. Start with yourself.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Use your basic elements. I always try to bring people to the basics, and I know a lot of times you guys think I'm robbing you of the greatness of your deep experiences. I'm not. It's the basics, man. Jab, jab, cross. That's what's gonna knock them out every time. You know, the basics. You don't need all that deep stuff. So a lot of times, start working with your own basic elementals. Do you have fire inside of you? Yeah. Do you have water inside of you? Yeah. Do you have earth inside? Yeah. Do you have air inside of you? Yeah. So work with those. Do you have ether? Yeah. Do you have metal? Yeah. Work with those basic elements, because once you get an understanding of the elements, you could go anywhere and learn any system. You can convert to any tradition that you want. It doesn't even matter once you got the elementals, because you're dealing with a nature-based religion. Learn nature. You see what I'm saying? Like if you got a Yimon Ya or Yimon Ja, you know, which is Yeye Omo Eja, mother of one, Omo or Eja, or Yeye Umonja, Yeye Moja. Those are the different allegiance that you get from it. Yeye is mother, Moja is one, mother of one. So sometimes we use those energies for the wrong things because we don't know what the word is saying. You know what I'm saying? Mother of one represents instantaneous healing because it always snaps you back to the source. The source is where healing is. So Yemonja, that energy is for healing. Most people think it's for motherhood.
Right. Yeah.
Oya's the one with 9 children.
Right.
Yansen, mother of 9. You know what I mean? Oshun's the one with all those twins. Oba's got a bunch of children. You know what I mean? But we always say Yemonja.
Right.
She's healing. You see what I'm saying? The tears, when you cry, what does it come out? What does it taste like?
Salt.
Salt. What is Yemonja? Salt water energy.
Right, salt water energy.
Crying is healing.
Right.
You dig?
So water for the harvest. That's what I say.
Or lubrication.
Oh.
But but you know, I'm joking with y'all. Don't use tears for lubrication. I'm just joking. Yeah, the men's call in 10 minutes. I don't want to step on the men's call. The men's call pops off in 10 minutes. All right, everyone. All you men. Now for you women, it's for the men. So yeah, that aspect where you say like you have all those different energies that you're working with, that's good. But you want to start with when you're coming in, 2 primary energies that you want to deal with is your own head and your own ancestors. The ancestors will tell you who you are. Your head will tell you what you are.
Okay.
Through your ancestors, you get your identity. You know, but it's through your own head that you carve out your destiny and you carve out your what. That's when we say God. God ain't a he or a who or a her. It's a what. It's a it. God is it. You know, and then you make it a who because you missed the titty. You missed breast milk. You know, so mama doesn't give me breast milk anymore anytime I cry. So I need something up there that loves me like mama. So I'm gonna make a who. Oh, God is always listening and ready to pick me up when I fall. No, it ain't. It ain't really thinking about you. It's really indifferent. That's why you can go through things when you're a child that are horrific. And
right.
You say, well, if God loves us, why would God let us go through that?
Right.
Because you're God, and you told yourself that you need to go through it. You know, so it's an it. So learning your head learns your Godhead. That's why we talk about the crown chakra being the guru self or the God self. So learning that head aspects gives you an idea of what the what is. But your egun tells you who I am. You want them both because the who tells you what you are in the community. So when you out in the woods hiking and you go near a deer and it runs away from you, You learning something about your ancestral presence.
Wow, that's deep. I
We
thought about
stink
that.
like our ancestors. Whatever our personal funk is the funk that's from our DNA. And that particular funk, you ever going on the green water fast? You probably have, right? Green fast and stuff like that. You look like you real.
I've done fastings, but I'm actually about to do the water fast.
Oh, you haven't hardcored it.
I'm about to hardcore it though, like
You
tomorrow.
gotta do it water fast.
Yeah.
You doing it with her?
Should I?
I would. Just cheer along. Somebody got
He
to stay
always trying
strong.
to cheer, right?
As a child, I used to fast.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It fasting's
Sunday, I
easy.
used to fast.
Yeah, fasting is. I like fasting. And Ramadan's coming up, so I'm gonna be whole family. But oh, and let me clear that up. People asked me that last year. Yes, I do celebrate Ramadan. It's not because I'm a Muslim. It's because during that time period, there's a lot of energy generated around fasting and supplication and higher thought, and I want some of that. So every year, I've been doing Ramadan since I was about 10. So I've been doing it for a long time. And that's around the time of year. If you ever look at it, I knew around that time of year is when I switch everything up. Change the shows, this and that and that. So I grab that energy out of the air. I do the same thing around Christmas time, unbeknownst to y'all, because that's the winter solstice. They're doing it to you, so I want to see it at the table. That's the Illuminati. So yes, I am Illuminati. But yeah, so yeah, Ramadan's coming up. So yeah, you could the water. So what I was saying is that during that time of fasting, your senses heighten. You become super sensitive and stuff to different things. For me, sometimes with certain type of fasts, if they're intense, my sense of smell really increases, heavy. Like I smell people as soon as they come in the house, and everybody stinks to me. Everybody, it's horrible. So I remember the first time I had that sensation. I said, "Wow, this is what animals, that's how they smell us. I can smell you like, 75 feet away. I'm smelling people. Everybody smells like stank hot dog water, except for me." And
Of
I
course.
can smell. Yeah, because I'm clean. But the thing is, like, if people eat meat, I can smell when I'm fasting. So those animals, those animals are also picking up on that energy. So the animals are identifying you by an ancestral who. Oh, they smell like that thing that always comes and hurts us. Those people who always come and hurt us. That's what she smells like. That's what he smells like. You see, so you see that we're talking about aroma and smell, but their spirits are in your blood. So some people can, like I can smell certain things during the fast. Some people can feel and sense your spirits, just generally. You see, so you learn your egun to learn what you coming into the room with. How many demons am I walking in this room with? But it's the head that gives you the eye.
Just came to me. Fast and dance.
Fast and dance.
You don't fast so I can pass out? Fast and pass out?
Fast, dance, pass out, go there where it takes you, come back, fast and dance some more.
Okay, what's going on? Somebody's sick? Brother Vivid Eye, wondering if he is okay. What happened here? What happened? Leonard, are you okay? Who's Leonard? Leonard, you all right? Who's Leonard? Jesus turns water into wine. That's alchemy. That's what that represented. When you saw that the scripture where it talked about him turning at Canaan, it was at a wedding at Canaan, and he turned water into wine. All that represents is alchemy. That's no different than turning lead into gold. So Jesus was an alchemist. Well, let's stop using that old dumb name. His name wasn't Jesus. Yahshua ben Pantera, tribe of the panther. You get all that sheep stuff out of your head. He was from the tribe of the panther. Yahshua ben Pantera, the Ethiopian, he performed alchemy. He was a high-level alchemist, and he turned water into wine and a whole bunch of other cool stuff that he was able to do. But there was a bunch of Yahshuas at that time. You guys should understand that. There's more than one Yahshua. And essentially, you all are supposed to be that. Men's call, 3 minutes. Peace, Brother Amar. All right, so brothers, go on and jump on that. I still, I know there's still some sisters here. But, yeah, that's what that represented. I don't know what y'all was asking, why you're asking if Leonard's okay. I hope he's, not having a problem. Got more questions for me, Sister Soldier?
No, I don't think I got caught up in the birds over here. I'm sorry. I was just like, you have like
Getting
the
those
most
frequencies.
exotic, like beautiful birds
Yeah, you know
flying
what?
around here. I've never seen so many birds.
It's only this plot. But it's a very interesting thing. I was trying to figure it out years ago. I get tropical birds in my yard. I think this is a flight path. But there's something interesting. I think I mentioned this on the show once. Some years ago, this guy came around the corner. He just came walking up the driveway. He was like, I forget the name he was calling. But long story short, his pet parakeet escaped the cage in his house and flew over here and perched in that tree right there. Right, leading into my space. So I'm seeing him. I'm like, yo, what you doing? He's like, oh, I'm sorry, bro. My bird flew into your yard. And I'm thinking, like, you can't catch no bird. Like,
right,
it's gone. So he was like, you got a ladder? So I gave him my ladder and everything. And he climbed. He put it on the side there, climbed that tree. And he was calling the bird, had some food. Then his daughter came. His daughter was crying. His wife pulled up in a minivan. And they all calling the bird. And it came down finally. It came to the food and landed on his arm. And he held it. But that was my confirmation, like, yeah, this is the bird's nest.
Right.
I get all kind of exotic stuff.
Right,
here.
so many birds.
Right, in the Northeast.
Right.
So it's a strong witch presence. And I have a lot of cats here, too. I have a family of cats that live underneath my front.
Yeah, I had an interesting encounter with a cat the other night that was very strange to me. And it was just a black cat. I kind of, like, came up on it, and it was standing there staring at me, and I was staring at, I don't know what male or female, and I said, okay, I know this is a sign. I was like, what is it that you're trying to tell me? Right. I'm trying to talk to the cat in words, and it was just, 2 minutes we stood there just staring at each other, and so I said, okay, well, let me approach it, maybe it'll come to me. So as I went to approach it, it kind of like turned to the right, and just sat, and when I say sashayed, it's sashayed into the bush. It didn't like trot, it just was like
zesty.
Yeah, like, okay, like, not only want to talk to you face to face, I'm just going to go this way.
And it was at night.
Yes, and then so I went looking for it, because I'm like, okay, well, what's the message? And so I walked probably about 10 or 15 feet, and something said, turn around. And so I turned around, and it was standing on the curb, again, just staring. It didn't meow, it didn't purr, nothing. So I'm like, well, okay, what is that supposed to mean?
It wasn't a cat.
It was not a cat. No.
And you were in the land of the witches. Sometimes we fall through portals and don't even be knowing it. We go in and out of portals. We'll walk through a place as a portal to another dimension. We walk right into the dimension and walk right back out of it. And things happen in those moments and nobody, and it's silent. Like, there's been times I've done spiritual work for people, right? And we're in a place like where cars are driving and stuff, right? As soon as I start pouring libations and speaking in Yoruba, the wind stops. No cars pass, no people pass. It's like dead silent, like we're in a vacuum almost. And then when we're done, then the cars and everything come back. So a lot of times we vibrate into a different space. You see, the Celestine Prophecy. I shared that book with people. The end. There's a scene. You ever seen that movie? There's a book too. Check it out. At the end, long story short, but they were looking for these ruins and these different things, and they had these soldiers who were chasing them. And the soldiers are running right past them, and they're like, what the heck? And then what happened was they saw one of their friends caught. Now this is a good one for all of y'all. So, and I know I'm telling you the end of the thing, so you don't have any build up, but I'm not a storyteller. That's not my ministry. So what happened was one of their friends was being held, and they were like, oh my goodness, by the soldiers. They got caught. So as they begin to worry and be concerned, their vibration lowered, and then they became apparent to the soldiers. They never explain it in the book or the movie, but you figure out that's what it is. So when they were searching for this thing in this room, and they're going through these steps and they're going through these Mayan temples and stuff, they were raising their vibration. And then once they became concerned with, and one of them didn't become concerned. He was like, oh, well, too bad for him. And he stayed invisible. You see? And the other ones, they materialized, and the soldiers came and grabbed them.
Wow.
You see? So when we get locked into our human story, another good one to check out for that is Lotus Scholar. You can help me with this. What's the one with Mr. Manhattan? Was it because he always helps me with my movies and stuff?
Oh, with all of the characters.
Yeah,
Mr. Manhattan.
You know it?
Yeah.
Was
I don't know the
not
name.
The Avengers,
No.
League of Extra. No.
No.
Come on, Low man, help me out. Where you at? Oh man, they had the woman. Robert.
Right,
not
exactly.
Robbie,
The beginning scene was awesome. That fight scene between
the bird. Was it
the Birdman?
Oh no, between Robert Downey.
Right,
and
at the very beginning.
The guy we later found out was the
right,
killer,
exactly. Yes. What is that? I don't know.
Watchmen.
Watchmen, yeah.
See, I knew he had me.
Yes, Watchmen.
That's another one. Remember how Mr. Manhattan got after a while? He was on Mars. He was like, they were like, well, this is happening on Earth. He was like, I really don't care.
Right.
That's the highest level of human development. When you can say, I don't care. Detachment. I don't care. Oh, man, they just shot another boy down in the street. Okay. We pretend like we care, but we don't really care.
Right, I heard that when you did that whole sermon once about that, and
People
I was like, that's so harsh. Like, could you say you don't care? But then when you broke it down, it was like, okay, well, what did you actually do about it? Did you make some steps to change it? So you can't really say you cared if you did nothing.
And don't think that it's cold. It's not cold, right? It's not being cold. It's that everything is right and exact where it's supposed to be and how it's supposed to be. In your human ego form, you may not see that. Why did that boy get shot down? Why did my ancestors get enslaved? The universal life force makes no mistakes, right? Everything is vibration and frequency, and everything gravitates toward the vibration it's supposed to and negates the vibration it's supposed to.
So true. So true. Some of us are here to establish balance, and some of us are here to unbalance what's been established. And each one is vital. It's like
vital. That's right.
Yeah, it's like if you go back to, I know I referenced the Matrix a couple of times recently. There's a scene, I'm trying to remember, but there's a scene where the Oracle, who was God, was talking about the architect, who was Satan, because he dealt all with thoughts, and he couldn't deal with the future. He couldn't deal with thought manifestation because he wasn't working from a soul level. He only worked from equations and calculations. So if something came in his periphery right there in the moment, then he would say, okay, this is what we're going to do. But he wasn't able to really project vision. So Neo had asked, well, what is he here for, basically? And she said, well, he's here to establish to balance out the equations. And then Neo was like, well, what are you here for? She said, I'm here to unbalance it. You see, and that's the higher understanding of things, because the equation is a trap.
So, I mean, with that being said, so then what do we do? So do we just not do anything and just say, well, you know, if it's happening because it's supposed to, and move on? Like, that's kind of confusing to me, you know?
Go ahead, brother. I'll answer after you.
You learn your metaphysics and stand over it.
What does that mean?
You learn your metaphysics and detach from it all. And become the universal life force that you are.
See, like, that's my baby. Them the babies. They're killing the babies.
They killing babies.
The babies is getting killed.
Because, but for me, it's like saying like detach as the feminine essence. Like, but we're nurturers. Like, we care, we love. So how can you say in the same breath, no, but detach from it? But
what did you do about Trayvon Martin?
What did I do?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Okay. Do you care that he was killed?
Yes.
Well, I think you answered your own question.
But that's like something outside of myself. So am I not supposed to have feelings about it?
You can have feelings about it. Your feelings are there for a reason.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Because not all the time can we actually physically, do something.
Why
I did
was
as much
he killed?
as. Why was he killed? You have to ask Zimmerman that question.
Okay, I've said this before. I'm gonna say it again. All these killings that are happening with these young people, when are we going to see some Rasta children killed? When are we going to see some Hebrew Israelite children killed? When are we going to see some children in the Nation of Islam killed?
That's a very, very good question, because I said that. I think I asked the same question to you.
Speaking about melanoid children. So go ahead, bro.
Everything carries a spirit. That's your hint.
So here's the deal.
Like, okay.
When we say, what should we do about it? why is it that we keep seeing these periphery children with seemingly no indigenous culture who seem raceless and spiritless? Those are the ones getting killed.
Right.
And then
right.
we say, what should we do about it? Establish a community.
Mm-hmm.
Because people in the community are not having these issues. So if you're out on the periphery, you're going to get picked off. Sometimes we keep forgetting that we are prisoners of war. We are living in wartime. So if you're sitting on the fringe of an encampment and you decide, well, I'm gonna sit out here because I don't like being around people, well, then you're easy to pick off. And that's a hard lesson to say, because we say, well, that's our baby. Trayvon Martin wasn't my baby. I don't know what his culture was. All skin ain't kin. Are these youth a part of my community? We look at Freddie Gray, right? Everybody went crazy over Freddie Gray. What was he doing out there?
Right, exactly. Destroying the community.
You destroying the community, and now we got to march for you? Isn't that kind of ass backwards?
That is, in that case, yes, absolutely.
So, I mean, and I know this is what people don't want to hear. They don't like hearing things like this, and this is the parts that they think are cold. But then when we say, that's why we talk, like, okay, look at what we spoke about when you first got here, before we even got on. You said you reached out to some of the students, but they haven't reached back.
Right.
Because they have no sense of community. That's why their kids keep getting killed. So when I say things like, you know, y'all need to get together, I made a special point by saying Brother Ish here and Summer are together. I said that for a reason. Not because I was just trying to be funny. I'm showing you the value of something. And he is a martial artist. She's protected. He's good. He's a martial and metaphysical artist. He's good. So, see now, Brother Shalambo, he asks, is it mostly Protestant black Christians that are being killed? You're missing the point. That's off. Black, just as soon as you say black, you're speaking about someone who doesn't even have a nation or a community.
Right.
You're talking about people who have no community. That's the point I'm saying. Again, when's the last time you seen a member of the Nation of Islam beaten down in the street? You're not going to see that, because those brothers have a certain culture that are going to cause them not to be in a certain place and time where those things are going to occur.
And we're also talking about the energy of betrayal, right? So we come from the African American energy has a spirit attached to it. When you see how we are referenced, or how we reference ourselves, you see that it has a lot of victimhood attached to it. But you take it back to Africa, and there's a lot of betrayal of each other. So a lot of energies that we carry over here have to be reworked and resculpted. And Haru is right, it's about community. But what kind of community? What is the spirit of the community you're going to build? Right? That so-called African American narrative has to be changed. And we got to do some deep introspection about that.
Right. See, that's the thing. You know, we're not looking at the viable solutions that are right in front of us, because we become so reactionary. So as a reactionist, you're always going to be one behind the eight ball. You know, that's the truth of it. And I know, again, this is not comfortable, I know, for people to hear. But you ain't heard me mention none of them people on the air. You ain't heard me mention about any marches, anything like that. Man, I stopped doing that in my teens, man. I figured out the game to that years ago, man. All that reaction. So all they got to keep doing is keep lighting fires. And we running here, running there, running there. But what are we doing proactively? If I'm sitting here telling you guys the reason that we're having these problems is because we don't have a sane and collective community. And I'm not talking about the conscious community nonsense, because all that is debates and YouTube videos. And buy my shea butter. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about and I'm not talking about we need to build a military. Yeah, that comes later, but some of these communities don't have that. But what they have is a culture that, just like Brother Ish says, that separates them from that spiritual narrative. You see, that takes them out of the spiritual narrative, whether, again, you're a roster, whether you're a Hebrew Israelite. You know, when's the last time you seen one of them brothers dressed up in one of them uniforms? I'm not gonna say anything funny on the air, but dressed up in one of them uniforms, beaten and brutalized on any of these videos. And they're out on the corners being the most aggressive. You would think they would be the first ones that they would come to. Why isn't that happening? You got a lot of these brothers coming out of the Nation of Islam that, yes, let's be honest about it, a lot of them coming out of the pen. You see, wouldn't they be the first to be targeted? Because one violation could send them back forever. You see? But you don't see videos of them getting beat down and stuff like that. You see cats who are culturalists, who are genderless, who are raceless, who are spiritless, they're the ones who are getting picked off because they don't have that communal or spiritual protection around them.
It's about power. The universal life force is power. And it attracts power and it respects power. And if you have no power, just like in the wild, you will get picked off because it's about evolution, right? So if you're evolutionarily, spiritually evolutionary defunctional, you will get picked off. African American, you will get picked off.
Right, exactly. You know, some of these youth that we look at, man, and who are getting shot down, and it's a lot of them, man. It ain't just Trayvon. You know, some of them have more notoriety than others. While you're crying, or we looking at girls in bikinis getting slammed down on pavement in Texas by cops, what the hell is she doing walking around in a bikini half naked for? Come on, man. I mean, at some point, you got to look at the culture is bringing sickness. The culture itself is cancerous, and we don't question those things. And that's the problem, because we forget where we're at. We're not safe. Like Sister Summer, earlier, she has a head wrap on. And she was like, oh, my goodness, this thing is so tight. And she loosened it up. And I said, oh, you can loosen it up. You in a safe space. Now, she might not have known what I meant, but when I had my locks, I always wore my head covered because I recognize as long as I'm on this North American continent, I'm not safe. So only time I let my hair out was when I was off the continent, when I'm in Africa or wherever, but definitely not here. Even on my own property, my hair was always covered. My neighbors never saw my hair because I don't feel safe. You see, anybody could run up and do anything. So what I'm saying is that at some point we have to look at that and say, listen, let's look at this proactively, and this is the job of the men. I don't expect the sisters to do it because sisters think holistically. They think the circular. What's going on right now? And they'll report what's going on right now, and as men, we're supposed to determine how we're going to prevent that in the future. So we say, well, wait a minute. Okay, let's look at what's happening. We got these children being shot down on the street. Are there fathers in the home? Nope. Because who's on the news crying? The mothers. And if the fathers are around, they're separated, right? So then he comes out of the woodwork. Yeah, man, I can't believe this happened to my son. Right. What kind of community did they live in? Did the majority of the people in the community look like them? Nope. Who was policing that community? When you live in communities and you got cops going up and down your block every 5 minutes with guns on them, where do you think you live? In a war zone. Go to better communities. You don't see cops. You hard pressed. You'll see cops directing traffic if they're doing street improvements, but you don't see cops just going on. So you could be walking around in your own neighborhood, and a cop will pull up on you, shine his light in your face. You could be coming home from work, depending on where you live. So at what point do the men get together and say, you know what, man? I know we love the soul food in Detroit. We love the fish and chips in Harlem. We love the music and all that in Chicago. But yo, this ain't working. We got to get out of these hoods. We got to pick up our families, man, and start buying up some blocks. So that way we can be like the Hasidics in Crown Heights, and we can form our own patrols. We can take our young men, our 16 years old, 17 years old, our 18 years old, and say, here, man, you guys are going to walk around the neighborhood at night. You're going to make sure everything is cool, and we're going to use a form of engineering and where we move and where we set up our stores so our women don't have to get on buses and trains and stuff to go get groceries and things that they need and be exposed to the wilds of this environment. Until we start thinking like that, yeah, our children are going to keep getting picked off. And no, I'm not getting out in the street and marching because I already told y'all what to do, man. I done did shows about it. I done wrote books about it. But whenever I start talking about community, whenever I start talking about family, y'all get real quiet and want me to give you some more rituals. Well, what I do with this red candle, light it in your window and let men know when you walk by that there's somebody giving away some tang inside. That's what you do with red lights. That's called a red light district. No, I'm joking. Don't do it. What I'm saying, savage priest. Right. But what I'm saying is you have to start thinking more proactively. And men, our job is to think long term. Think long term, man. Everybody's complaining about Trump. You sound like a bunch of sissies. How you gonna complain about another man? You sound soft. You notice you ain't heard me do one show on Trump in here other than saying that, yeah, he's supposed to be in office. That's supposed to happen because he represents the European alpha male. He's got this dumb young wife. He's savage. I told you he's Rodney Dangerfield in Caddyshack. He's the ignorant brute that hit the lotto and got himself, and now he can get back at all the rich, refined guys who used to make fun of him. That's what Donald Trump. He's Rodney Dangerfield on the golf course. You see what I'm saying?
Funny.
He's supposed to be there.
That's true, though.
But we sitting there complaining. Yeah, what's Trump gonna do? Negro, what you gonna do next?
You gonna do right?
I done laid this thing out for you, man. It's not hard to move. You can move to the continent. You can move to Costa Rica, or you could go to some of these towns down south if you want to be where it's nice and warm, where you got these decrepit, empty neighborhoods, man, and you can buy up the whole neighborhood. You got some houses, you go down and get houses for $1,000, $1,500. But no, you want to keep staying here, getting picked off, and then when things happen to your children, we supposed to go march, which is embarrassing unto itself. Yeah, you marching in front of other men. They saying, we got guns, we're going to kill your children anytime you want, and we go out there with picket signs, man. Come on, man, I'm tougher than that. I'm not doing that. I'm just not. I did it when I was a youth. I marched for Mumia. I marched to free Mandela. I marched to free Mike Tyson. I didn't just start doing this, man. I've been doing this, man. You know, and then you figure out. So Sister Gloria asked, so is gentrification a good thing? Hey, let me tell you something about gentrification. Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing for the people who are gentrifying. I told y'all years ago, back in the 90s, I was trying to get brothers to buy these crack houses in Harlem with me. They were selling them. The city of New York was selling all of these houses in Harlem for $1. And all you had to do was to commit the money to bring them up to code, and they were giving you loans to bring them up to code. I was a young guy, you know, and I owned a barbershop at the time. So I made my own flyers. This is before I didn't have a computer. I had to go there, had a man put it together and run all of that. Put them up in the shop, handing them out. Dudes was laughing at me. Yo, you gonna go live, what you think is New Jack City? You gonna go live in a crack house? Now look. So what you gonna do if you leave it there all that time? These big, beautiful brown, they're like castles. And then they come in and they buy them up and they clean up the town. What you think is supposed to happen, man? How long you think they're gonna let those things sit there? Just like you go down south, you got whole blocks, Detroit. How long you think they're gonna let those eyesores of those empty houses sit there? Come on, man, wake up. The same thing happened in New Orleans, man, with Katrina. How long you think they're gonna let all them projects there? And they got those really funny murder laws in New Orleans, man. You could murder someone and literally be out of jail in 3 months.
Wow.
That's why when Katrina hit and all them cats went to they relocated a lot of them to Atlanta, and then they sent a lot of them to Texas. They ended up doing big time in jail because it wasn't like New Orleans. New Orleans, the murder laws is way different. You know, if no witnesses, anything come forth, man, they let you out of jail. So what I'm saying is that at what point do you look at this and you say, okay, well, the gentrifying the neighborhood. First of all, ain't your neighborhood anyway because you don't own anything. You just live there. You live inside of a big store. If you live somewhere and everyone else is making money off of you being there, that means you live inside of a gigantic mall.
Wow.
All of the business owners are not you. Okay, you go there, the dry cleaners is not you. The supermarket is owned by not you. The sneaker store is not you. The clothing store is not you. The hair product store is not you. The buses that are driving people all around are not you. The most you may get is a taxi. A Uber, that might be you. So that means that's not a black town. You don't own anything there. You live inside a place that people just come in to do commerce, because the people who do commerce there don't even live there. They know better than to even live there. And half the time when they do commerce there, they set their stores up like military installations. Cameras and plastic glass. You see what I'm saying? So at some point, brothers, I ain't even talking to the sisters right now. I'm talking to the dudes. At some point, y'all gotta wake up, man. Don't tell me about anybody getting killed or unfair laws. I don't care about it anytime at this point. I don't even care. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Now, yeah, if one of my children gets shot down, yeah, I care. But they wouldn't get shot down because I don't live in a place where that's happening on purpose. I lived in the hood already. I already did that. I lived in a place where I got arrested for nothing before. Just for being on the block. Well, we doing a sweep. I got caught up in block sweeps. Now I'm down in central booking. For what? Just because I was on the block that they was doing a sweep. And sometimes you got to pay to get out. And you did absolutely nothing. I did all that and figured out, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. This is not cool. This isn't cool, man. I'm walking down the street, cops just messing with me for nothing. I don't want to live in a place like that. So I did what I had to do to not live in a place like that. You see what I'm saying? So at some point, man, we got to wake up, and if you don't have an identifiable culture and you're not moving as a corporate body, people will do anything to you. If you see a Hasidic, you ain't gonna do nothing to a Hasidic. Why? Because if you touch one, 100 show up. Why do you guys think I keep talking about community all the time, but y'all don't want it? That's the problem. So stay where you at, man. Keep getting picked off, because it's only going to get worse, because now they're seeing there's really no recourse for picking you off. You're going to march. That joint is funny, man. That's hilarious if you really think about it. I would be laughing if I was a white supremacist watching them. I'm going to go kill one of these niggers. Absolutely. Watch what they do. They're going to walk around crying and screaming and singing gospel songs.
Right.
It's funny.
It is.
Yeah.
It's pathetic at this particular point. It really
Man
is.
to man.
It has not
Right.
solved anything. And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, no, go march and sing and pray and beg and plead. And
It's embarrassing.
It really is.
It's embarrassing. So I'm saying, man to man, alpha to alpha. You know, if I look at other races of people who are doing things against my people, it's not really a race thing, it's a conquest thing, it's a war thing. That's what I told you guys before about interracial relationships. It is different when a person of another race is with your woman, because that represents conquest. When armies go and conquest an area, what do they take? Land and women. You see, so it's different than when you let's say if you see me and I got an Asian woman or a Caucasian woman or an Indian woman or this, you know, I got women from all around the globe. All that represents is Moorish conquest. I know y'all don't want to hear it. You don't like how that sounds, you know. But I'm yeah. I took your woman. What? Like Jack Johnson back in the days. Right? Jack Johnson was beating dudes up in the ring.
And when I had my white girlfriend, I took him and sported her around them.
Yeah, she ain't want to hear. Look at oh, you shouldn't say it around Summer.
You already listen. We've already had these conversations a couple of times.
I sported her around them like what?
Yeah.
And had conversations, and they knew the level of frequency I was coming at them. Oh, this is not the one to mess with.
Right. He took our woman. Jack Johnson was taking them, beating dudes up in the ring. Then he would beat the crap out of his white woman when he got home. I mean, I'm not advocating that, but to me, that was kind of badass. In that day and time, he like, not only am I going to take your woman, but you know I'm going to throw it down a flight of steps when we get home. Jack Johnson, man, one of the best boxers to ever live. Come on, man. Nobody did it like Jack, man. I'm just saying, I'm not advocating it. It takes a lot to do that, and that you talk the day and time we talking about. They were hanging dudes.
When they was hanging niggas.
Right. Not only did you say, I'm going to grab one of your women, I'm going to beat you up in the ring, but I'm not going to treat her like a princess. No, we ain't going to do that. Come on, man. I'm not, you know, Lotus Scholar said, made her kill herself.
He's
yeah, she
right.
committed
Conquerors
suicide.
do things differently. The
Conquest.
conquering attitude is a different attitude.
Right.
And I think we as quote-unquote African-Americans have forgot what the conquering attitude's about.
Exactly. We lost it, man. That's what I'm saying. So, you know, like I told you guys before, you can't beg for power. Power is 80% taken, 20% given. And it's only given because you done took most of it already. You cannot march for power. You can't beg for power. You know, so when you're getting programs like affirmative action and women's empowerment, you ain't being empowered because you can't get it that way. You got to take it. I'm trying to tell y'all something, man. So when I tell my youth all the time, man, go out, take stuff. I'm talking about the boys, not the girls. All right, it's you know, the girls have another cause in what they do, because what they're doing is they're raising the boys and the girls who are going to go out and perpetuate more of that alpha mentality. See, that's where it's got to come from the women. They're the ones who, like my mother used to say, you know, you're an African prince. I've been hearing that since I was a little boy. Every time she would take me out the bathtub, she would take the towel, wrap it around my waist, hold me up. So you seen how young I was. Hold me up to the bathroom mirror and say, look at you, you're an African prince. And I've been wearing cowrie shells since I was like 3 years old. I wore cowrie shells up through high school, I think. Yeah, I always had either a cowrie shell bracelet or a cowrie shell necklace. So now you take a 3-4-year-old boy, you wrap a towel around his waist, you have a cowrie shell necklace on him, He's already got an African name. My hair was in braids, and back then nobody wore braids. It's not like now. You wore braids, you knew something was, this is some other type of juju. My clothes were made for me up until the 5th grade. I didn't have store-bought clothes until the 5th grade. They were all made. So all my clothes were African prints up until a certain age. You understand what I'm saying? So what kind of mentality does I put in a child? I never celebrated Christmas. So I came in the door saying I'm better than everybody else, and I'm an African prince, and my mother told me I'm the best looking person in the room. She made me into Rick James, basically. Brother.
Also, if you're raising boys, are you raising your boy as a warrior?
Right.
Are you raising your young man as a warrior? Are you teaching him physical and metaphysical principles at a very young age? Are you raising them unapologetically strong? Do you have them in a real martial art class where they gotta earn through blood, sweat, and tears what they get?
Right. See, that's key, man. You know, nothing comes easy, man. That's why I asked y'all the question the other day, hypothetically, about making a child walk 3 miles or 2 miles on crutches. And I'm still on yeah, you can walk 2 miles on crutches. It builds character. You know, I don't care if you limping, it builds character because we have to learn how to adapt sometimes. You know, learn how to do different things. And this is what I'm telling you, the mentality that we need to get out of this thing, man. It's only going to get worse. You notice how we only talk about the good old days? And pick any time period, it's going to be the good old days. Here we go. What are we in, 2017? 2005 was the good old days. Sometimes I watch YouTube videos, and some of the music came out in 2000 was horrible. But you listen to that horrible music, people are like, man, people don't sing like this no more.
Right. That's so funny because that's true.
And back then we was complaining.
Right.
We was like, man, back in the 90s we had Guy and then we was like, this New Jack Swing garbage. Remember the 80s? Stacy Lattisaw? And then we said, remember the 70s? Remember the 60s? The good old days is always behind us, man. You got to understand that. So that means progressively Satan is getting stronger and God's getting weaker.
But wait, I have a quick question.
Okay.
So as a new student, would we say we're building a new community?
Great question. Great question. He's texting you.
Yes.
You think I'm stupid?
I
was about to say. I was gonna say great question because somebody just put that in the chat, and y'all over here conspiring.
No,
they got an alliance, y'all. They got an alliance. We're gonna vote one of them off the island.
I just looked at the phone and I saw the question. I was like, okay, I have a question.
So yeah, there was a question as our new student, are we automatically part of a community? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. First of all, as our new student, you learning the basics. I told you that even up through phase 3, you learning the basics. Okay, so you getting your black belt to be a white belt again. I'm just trying to clear all that crap out of you. I'm trying to get you to understand the words that you use when they come out of your mouth, because a lot of y'all don't even know what you're saying half the time. That takes a long time to do before I can even start to teach you anything. You see, so as our new student, you're not automatically a part of a community, because let me do this for you too. Most of you are getting the classes online. You can't be a part of a community until you're in a place where your cell phone ain't working. And you eating and you're dancing and you know, until I'm telling your child to stay away from the edge before they get hurt. All right? Until I grab your son and give him a spanking. Until you go to my daughter and tell her to fix her skirt because too much is showing. We ain't community. Until I taste your wife's rice and peas. Rice and peas. And you taste my woman's seaweed salad. We ain't community. If we don't eat together and we don't raise children together, we ain't community. Okay, so I give you these lessons so that you can start getting that into your mind and becoming community minded. But no, it's not going to happen online. The revolution will not be televised. And if you ever see a revolution on TV, that means it ain't a real revolution. Okay, and this is a revolution of the mind. So we have to be around each other. There's no avoiding that. And I know we keep trying to get away from it most of the time because we have creature comforts wherever we're at. We got a good job. Somebody gave us a house. This, that. You know, but no, this is not how you form a community. Community consists of a place where values and principles and mores are transmitted. And that transmission happens through so many different mediums, but it happens through your food and your gardening and your education. Communities are always built around schools. That's why I have an online class, because it has to begin there. Even when the quote unquote pilgrims first came to this continent, you know, the first thing they built was not a church, was not homes. The first structure that they built here was actually a school. Look it up. So, because the school provides an area where everybody comes into. Right now, even looking in the chat, because I know y'all. Let me look. Let me scan. Here we go. Boom. I got somebody who's 18, and I have somebody who's 64. All in the same place. You see what I did just by having a school? I got somebody who's 18 and 64 in the same exact place. Male and female in the same exact place. You see that? So the school provides that opportunity for people to start coming together, and then we can build from there. But no, we're not going to fake that. We're not going to say we're automatically part of a community, because then that's some more fake online RBG stuff. We have to get around each other. If we still got sisters like Gloria C, who is single, plug, hint. Look at the picture. She got an avatar picture. She a pretty girl, pretty woman. She ain't no girl. She you know, she's already been deflowered. She's got a couple of children, but
deflowered.
Oh yeah, she been deflowered. That flower been picked. Only a couple petals left on that flower. But hey man, some men like women with a little mileage on them, man. You know, you don't have to teach them too much, man. You get right into it. So what I'm saying is that if we still have women here who are single, if we still have men are talking about I'm looking for a lady or whatever it is you're looking for, or you have guys still trying to build businesses and empires and getting all of their information from YouTube, then we're still missing a large part of the puzzle, man. We're still, like, after we do this show, we're supposed to eat together or go hiking together. When I had the new temples, I had two of them. I shared that with you guys before. One in Harlem, and I had another one in New Jersey. And when I had the temples, after every service, we did the same thing. We drummed. Okay, so we would just jam out on the drums, and then we would go hiking. Usually, we took the children hiking, and then we would eat. You see, some very basic primal things put right into one space without, you know, having to do a whole bunch of extra ritualizing. So no, there's some components to a true community that I'm missing, and there's no getting around it. And all I can tell you is this, family, is that I'm giving you the intro and I'm giving you the help to get things started. But there will come a time when I will determine that I have told you all that I need to tell you. And then it's on you to make certain choices to do certain things. But me and mine are good. Okay, we're good. We know how to pilot different kind of vehicles. We know how to fight. Even my big plus size self can run. You know, we have places and land set up on other continents. We're good. So, you know, this is for you. You got to understand that. And sometimes we get locked into, oh, Chief gonna teach. Oh man, Chief always gonna beat. No, it doesn't go down like that, man. Man, I wish Amos Wilson was still around. You know, but there's still some aspects to some of his work that I'm still trying to work out. You see, so technically, I guess he doesn't really need to be around because he's given us so much. You know, if we just want to keep eating and consuming, there's a sickness there that has to be addressed. We could say the same for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, or for Marcus Garvey. But so much information was laid out already ready that we don't even use. I did a show on Thunderground Thursdays and showed y'all how to put together a solar generator. How many of you have done it? I know one sister confirmed. She sent me a picture. And I know another one started the project, never finished it. That's just two women, brothers. That's just two women. So now when the lights get shut off and everything, I'll have lights. I'll be able to run my Vitamix. What about you? You see what I'm saying? So there's so much that's already been given to you that you ain't even tapped into yet, man. So when you talk about the formation of community, man, eat what's on your plate first, and then it will be easier for us to get together because we'll know the principles, customs, practices, and mores that we need. And it has nothing to do with EFI. I saw somebody put EFI. That's right, true, EFI community. This ain't an EFI community. You need customs, practice, and mores to be a part of a community, man. I have brothers and sisters that I deal with I was talking about this with a brother last night who's a Hebrew Israelite, right? We never talk about God, but we talk all the time and build on things all the time. Why? Because we got similar practices. We have similar customs. When he comes to my door, he don't just walk into my house. He asks, hey, Brother Peace, can I come in? Small things like that. The way we are around each other's women. I don't argue at his women, I argue at my women. The way we are around each other's youth. So our customs and practices and mores line up. I don't care who he prays to. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter that he stays in the Torah and he calls himself a Jew. I could care less. Because the customs and practices that we share allow us to exist within the same community paradigm. You see, so that's what we need to tighten up on first. And once you do that, the things that I'm saying will make a lot more sense to you. Why should we live near each other? Why should we educate our children together? There's primal things that we all want. Peace, right? We all want our family safe. We all want to have peace. We all want to be more of what we are. Period. That can exist within a culture. We can have, like I said, matriarchy. We can have patriarchy. They can exist within the same space. I'm telling you, we don't all have to converge on Ifa. We don't all have to converge on Orisha. We don't have to converge on Sangoma or comedic studies or meditation. We don't have to do that. We can create a beautiful rainbow of all of these different traditions and systems inside of one space that has the same imperative. We're going to be free.
That's right. Right, exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
Now, if we can just stick to that.
Yeah.
John Henry Clark used to say.
John Henry Clark says.
He would say, don't matter what you step across the threshold with, pick something and let's move.
Right. So, some of y'all are here to just, learn some hoodoo. and personally,
it's gonna work for you if your intentions ain't right.
Exactly, it ain't gonna work. I've been saying that for years, but they hear what they want to hear. Some of them, but some of them are getting it. Some of them are getting it. But like, okay, Sister Sequoia said, my family yearned for a community as well. We are sharpening our swords, right? But see, you got a family, Sister Sequoia. Let's go through the list. How many of y'all actually have a family? You're moving as a unit. You see what I'm saying? It's not that hard. Fall back to the primal instincts, man. When you fall back to your primal instincts, it's real easy for us to be together. I got a staff, you got a womb. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. And especially when you're dealing with conscious people, look at the conscious community, man. They're the most attractive people in the world, even with all that crazy. They're very attractive, man. Healthy, strong, eating right, glowing, nice auras. You know what I mean? It's very easy for us to get together. But why don't we? Because we have so many isms that we can't converge on one point. Let's just be free. Let's just be free. And then let's look at the natural order of things, which I've been teaching you for the longest time that a lot of you don't like to. Yeah, as a man, I'm going to take the lead. You're going to walk behind me. No, we ain't doing it side by side. You can't take a shot like I can take a shot. All right, so you can't stand on the side of me. You got to stand behind me. I'm big and wide. Trust me, if you stand behind me, nobody will see you. You'll be covered and protected. Trust me on that. You see, so we start learning the basics and the natural order of things. Then a lot of these situations that we keep asking, what we going to do? What we going to do about? Won't even be our issue and our concern. And those who don't want to go up the mountain, like I always say, the silverback gorilla's going to go up the mountain. Now, if you want to stay down here and get towed up by the jackals, that's on you. But we're showing you how to move, where to go, man. Yes, if you keep living in the hoods in the major cities, stay in the major city. What's going to happen? Terrorist attack. We have already incidents, people walking down the street getting stabbed in the chest by white supremacists. Keep staying in environments like that, and things like that are going to keep happening. I mean, come on. The writing's on the wall, and you men just got to grab the woman and say, come on, bring your ass on. But my mother still live in my family. Well, yeah, that's why we got Skype. You can Skype them. That's right. We're leaving. You understand? You men got to have to put your foot down like that, man. And the women who say, no, I ain't got to listen to you, brother. Leave their ass there. Excuse me, my language. Leave them there. You see, everyone cannot be saved. You can't bring everyone with you. Every cousin can't come to the barbecue because they might try to go into the coat room and go through everybody's coat, or go in everybody's pocketbook, or be fishing through everybody's car, or everybody in the back doing electric slide. Some people gotta stay. You see, they're here for decoys. So while they're over here and they got the rest of the world thinking that we're idiots and we ain't doing anything, we could go do the real stuff. So be thankful for the decoys. You see, some of them came back to do that. They already evolved. If I had to come back to the planet, or I had to wait around, let's say if they was like, listen, man, all right, Chief, you evolved, you done, you never have to come back to Earth again. But before you go to the next stage, we're gonna need you to wait out this 50-year time period. Man, send me back. I want to be Flavor Flav. I'm gonna have fun. I want to be that bad child. You know, I'm gonna be a problem child. I want to go back and have fun. You see, or maybe I'll hook you up and be a decoy. I'm gonna come back and be a decoy for them, man. I'm gonna be Lil Wayne. You see, I'm gonna be ASAP Rocky. All right, I'm gonna be one of them, man. Who I'm gonna let them call me a coon. It's all good. Yeah. We cooning. Y'all doing your work though, right? Okay, cool. I'll take that. I'm gonna come back and have fun, or just come back and help you out. You see it as such. So that's all I wanted to say on that, man. You have any questions? Any more questions, sister? Okay, she's questioned out. All right.
I'm just in my own thoughts.
Okay.
Taking it in.
Messing up again. See, after all that, she right back to overthinking.
I have to take in what you said, though. I'm taking it in.
You ain't
I
taking
can't take it in?
If you thinking, you ain't taking it in. You're filtering it.
Oh, gosh. I'm working on it.
You summarizing it.
Oh, right. Yes, absolutely.
You
was
get
that
to play
a
on
play?
word. Yeah, it was play on word. I'm nice with the freestyle. Anyway. So I'm gonna go through some of the questions and then we're gonna head out. But Sister Madam Madam Ma'at. Peace, sis. What about the interaction of the spirit of the ancestor whom you have no life experience with? Well, no material life experience with. Remember, all of your eguna in your blood, you are sharing experiences with your ancestors, even if I have a great-great-grandfather I never met in the physical. But also remember this, you guys got to understand this. Stop thinking like they taught us in school in the 70s and 80s that we only started during slavery. When we talk about ancestors, you're talking about Lemurians and Atlanteans. You're talking about people who had green skin, who had purple skin, who had blue skin. Okay, we're going back to a time before we existed in the form that we exist now. So when you say ancestors, you got to go back billions upon billions of years. So there's going to be a whole, don't just go back 2-3 generations, because that's what my great. Okay, we're good. Go back billions of years, man. To the people who built pyramids out of thought, or who built mountains out of thought, carved their faces in mountains before it was carved over and called Mount Rushmore. You want to go back that far. The second part of the question was, does a lack of life experience diminish our ability to connect with them? No, absolutely not. Because you remember, when you're connecting with an Agun, you're connecting with their projected spirit that you remember. You see? So you may have, a grandmother who was mean. So whenever you want that type of vibration or energy, I need somebody for protection. I got this mean grandmother. But maybe she wasn't so mean. Some of us have parents who cooled out. You see? Our parents were terribly strict when we were young. But then people met them later on in life. Oh, they were so cool, man. They were so laid back. Yeah, because, they wore themselves out with all of the WWF beatings. So you're connecting to an aspect of their spirit, but it's not the whole of them. So don't worry about if I didn't get to experience too much of them. And the other key is this: talk to your ancestors. Don't just say, well, I remember my grandfather like this, because we transform into glorified bodies. What is your ancestor now? Put a drink out, put a candle out, pour a drink for yourself. Say, hey, you want to come sit and drink with me? Let's talk. Whoever wants to come, let's talk. Let me get to know this ancestral ecosystem, this ancestral community. Okay, let's see. Jabari says, I am a student of yours, Chief. Reading is not really the way I learn best. Will you ever have the Grasping the Root of Divine Power book on DVD? No, I'm not going to put it on DVD, but I actually am planning to make an audio book out of it. I just have not got around to it. But yeah, I know what that's like, man. Sometimes reading is like, it's a drag. Since I had the incident with my eyes, reading sometimes is challenging. So I enjoy audiobooks. So at some point, yes, I will do that. I just have not gotten around to it, excuse me. But no, on DVD, I doubt if I'll put it on DVD. All right. Let me see, going through these questions. Keisha Reinhardt says, I feel privileged to be included in this conversation. It's good to know that it's not just about meditation to ground yourself. Yeah, absolutely not. Jabari says, dance the night away. Lotus Scholar says, and I feel dances. I feel like Happy Feet when I dance. That's my friends call me Happy Feet. Seriously? Lo, that your friends call you Happy Feet? Weren't you in the military? Like, was that your commando name? Happy Feet. Operation Happy Feet. Yeah, I don't believe you, brother. And not that you can only calculate with your partner is instinctual. Okay. Madam Art says, I feel that way when I teach. I guess she was talking about the meditation aspect. Okay. Let's see. Anwar said, I just heard some disturbing news. A good brother of mine got shot in the leg. They were trying to rob him. He was waiting for his work crew. He's okay and recovering. Yeah, it's a leg shot, man. He'll be all right.
I have a question.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, man. People get shot every day. He'll be all right.
Holy, give thanks.
Yeah. That's what Cameron said in Paid in Full. He gets shot every day. He'll be all right. You be all right. Drink some soup.
I want to ask a question about the rituals. I noticed that people have their own way of doing rituals. Now, I looked at the rituals that you actually have on the site, and they were quite lengthy, and versus some where you can. I'm sorry.
You really don't like bugs, huh?
No.
They coming around you.
Yeah, they circling me over here.
Magnetism.
Ugh, I guess.
I'm sorry. Next time I'll just pave everything over. I'll just kill all the wildlife. It makes you more comfortable.
Everybody has their own space. I just want them to have theirs and not come onto mine over here.
Space. You in their space.
Yeah, that is true. You are in their space.
Well, that's true, I guess. Okay, I apologize. All right, but can you just kind of circle me, please? Does it really take so much to do a ritual, or is it really just about thought?
Stop being lazy.
No, I'm asking.
That's not even. That's a lazy person's question.
No, it's not. That's
you said
really
some of them are lengthy. Even the way you said lengthy, I knew where this question was going. And some of them are quite lengthy.
No, because you look at other things and people are like, oh, all you got to do is this. This is like a money ritual. You know, so many people have like quick little ones to do. So I'm like, oh, okay. But then it's like I see the ones that you have, and I'm like, they are so much longer than the others. So I'm like, does it really?
What's better, to two-step or to do a dance routine?
Well, it depends. I mean, you can have a good two-step.
There we go. It depends.
Okay, so it does. That's what I'm asking. So you can manifest using maybe rituals that are not so lengthy.
What about when it requires more?
I don't have an issue with that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do either way, but I just wanted to ask. But don't look at me like that.
This is a lazy question.
It's not a lazy question. It's an honest question because I was confused. I'm like, well, why are some so long and then others is like, nah, you can just do this. And I'm like, okay.
Let's try this. All right. Some people got to drink to dance, right?
Yes.
So they have to go through a ritual to loosen themselves up enough to put themselves in the mind of confirmation. You see? So sometimes a ritual may be a bit lengthy because each step of the ritual is opening up a different chamber in the mind based on what it is that you're trying to do. Let's say if you're trying to take somebody's job, right? You use Oya for that because Oya is the supplanter of power. She takes one thing from here and puts it over here, right? But you think it's a good thing to take somebody's job?
Well, I mean, that all depends.
On what?
If they were doing their job correctly, if they were...
What if they are doing their job correctly and they need that job?
Oh, no, absolutely not. No.
What if you really needed to have that job, though?
I don't know.
Right, exactly.
That's where my heart beats.
Right. So I may have to give you a long ritual to get you out of that that thinking of morality that shouldn't be there. Because if you take that person's job, it may open up something for them to have that they really want. So you don't know how the way spirit orchestrates.
True.
So sometimes we may have to go through more steps to get ourselves really in that space and really in that moment.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I like to do little rituals because I build them up. I do rituals all day, constantly.
Yeah?
Yeah, constantly. I mean, but everything I do is ritualized. Most of the time, I urinate in a Snapple bottle in my own house because I'm going to use that urine. You see? So I take every little thing that I do and I figure out a way to ritualize it. You see? So it becomes small in that sense. You see, I'm not going through these long, elaborate steps. But Sometimes I do, depending on, if I want to get real funky with it. Or I may have a client I'm working with who comes in as a skeptic. So each step is breaking down a different chamber. You see, if I say, okay, we're going to start the ritual off like this. I'm going to light some incense, and I want you to move it to the left with your thoughts. What? Yeah, I can't. Yeah, just do that. While you're doing that, I'm going to go over here and prepare this. At some point, they're going to, I did it! Okay, cool. Now we're going to do the next thing. You see what I'm saying? So slowly it's open their mind up to, oh, this is real. You see what I'm saying? So, and moving incense is easy with your thoughts. So I always use that as like I do that with children all the time. Or move a cloud. We'll see cloud formations. I'll say, okay, disperse the cloud. It's not hard to do. I used to do it with my daughter all the time. She loved that. We stare up and make it go apart. And then we'll form it into something else. You see? So that could be a part of I might write that into a ritual. Because I might know what the person needs. Maybe the person doesn't think they can reconstruct reality. But it's a reconstruction of reality ritual. So they may do one little thing and be like, well, he just said light some incense and throw it over here. Boom, this ain't gonna work. But I might say, no, first reform a cloud into the image of what it is that you want to bring into your life. That by itself, actually, by the time you do that, you're actually done. Really. But then I'll say, okay, now once you do that, then like a stick of incense. Look at the incense smoke. Reform the smoke in the same image of what you made the cloud into. See, so I'm just hypnotizing them at deeper levels. All magic is hypnotism. That's all it is hypnotism. You're hypnotizing yourself to create something. That's it. It's just different ways to hypnotize a person. Some people you got to cut through a little deeper. If you already think you're supposed to have money, then yeah, man, spray some of that Indian money spray.
Right.
Yeah, we good.
Money
We're gonna get this
drawn
money because I'm supposed to have it. Your mind is already there. But if you have a deficit mentality, I'm gonna have to do different things in order for you to see things a certain way. You see?
It's like, how do you get past that? How do you get past that mentality? Because I feel like I partially suffer with that.
Okay.
I'm like, and I be ready to choke myself sometimes. Like, come on, where is this doubt coming from? Stop it, stop it, stop it.
You got to go back home.
Home here?
Source, right? Sometimes we forget where we come from. Everything that we want manifested has already been manifested, and we come from a place where it's all at. So how could I not have it? Like years ago, I taught this music course in the South Bronx. You remember that? You came as well, yeah. Some of them boys ain't had no rhythm. And I used to get on them about that. They be writing rhymes, be all off beat and stuff. And I said, how is it that y'all are from the South Bronx where hip hop was created and you can't rhyme on beat? That makes no sense to me. Like I expect anyone else to not be able to do this, but not here. This is the birthplace. Taft, that was actually Taft High School, where Kool Herc went. So you got to go back to the source. If you come from where all the gold and diamonds are, how could you not have it?
True.
Yeah. So you got to always bind yourself back to that source, reality, and then it gets real easy, and remember that whatever you're trying to manifest needs that thing in order to survive. You see, so a little bit of gold makes a lot of gold. A little bit of money makes a lot of money. I keep money on my shrines. I buy gold coins. You can get them on eBay, like real gold coins.
Okay.
I put them in my Oshun pot. I ain't gonna tell y'all which pots for you to get my house broken into. But opportunity opens up opportunity. So once you start, recognize the law of correspondence. Start dealing with that. When you're dealing with your hermetic laws. So your thoughts that you may have now are going to correspond to something else. So if you have a deficit mindset, it's going to correspond to deficit in the world. If you have an abundance mindset, Everything reset. I don't know if y'all can hear me. Tell me if y'all can. No. Can you hear me? We're gonna. Who is that from my house? I guess my phone was ringing just now. I didn't see it. Oh, that's my cousin. You haven't seen him in a while. It's my cousin Cole. That's who was just calling. All right. I don't know if you all can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. I know I broke up just now because I'm tethering. I'm outside and my phone rung. All right. I can hear. Okay, cool. Thank you. I'm good now. So yeah, the thing is, so you speak about that, your relationship with money. What do you want money for?
What do I want money for? I mean, what everybody wants money for, bills, but mainly to build a tree house so that I can get away from the insanity and go into complete solidarity until, you know.
I got a tree right there and I got some lumber on the side there. So you don't need money for that.
I wish I did know how to build a tree house. I had no problem with that whatsoever.
So you don't need money.
But do you have enough to build my tree house?
Absolutely.
You have enough to build my tree house. My tree house of my dreams.
1 second. You heard me. All right. I didn't want to yell on the radio.
Right.
All right. So so the aspect there is your relationship with money. You just said I want it for what everybody wants it for. We don't all want it for the same thing. I don't want money for bills.
No, I need the money for the bills.
Peace. Yeah, we just finishing up. My cousin just walked up. So we got a whole. No, it's cool, bro. Don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's cool. Yeah, I know usually I'll be done by now. We went over. Yeah. It's all good. It's all good, bro. You know, my cousin's also into metaphysics, occult, and all kind of spooky things. So so your relationship with money is off. That's the issue.
Okay.
Because you said I want money to pay bills.
Yeah.
So you want money because you have debt.
Yes.
But money itself is debt.
True.
So you're looking at the wrong things. You probably want to build a better economy. And economy has nothing to do with money. It has to do with your relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So, like, for instance, my cousin came over to get a piece of audio equipment, right?
Mm-hmm.
For free. Because of our relationship, he has access to audio equipment. Because of my relationship with my brother Ish here, you had access to me.
Right.
Didn't cost you a dime.
Right.
Most people have to pay to speak to me.
Right.
You got to speak to me for free for what, like 3-4 hours now.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the money, it's the relationships, it's the economy. Eco, it's life. Namo means to manage, or hand, or knowledge, like nomos. So the economy is the managing of life. We're all lives. We're all life. Not even lives, because there's technically no plurality of life. We're all life. So as you manage life, which is managing your relationships, you get better management of your economy. You don't even need the money.
I'm trying
Tell that to MasterCard. I know what you're ready to say.
No, not even that. I don't have outstanding bills like that.
You want outstanding bills.
I don't want to mess up by thinking like you told me. I don't want to mess up.
Mm-hmm. You want the bills.
Like, I want the bills.
Yeah, you want the bills. First thing you said, I want money is to pay bills.
Yes.
You just said you ain't got no outstanding bills.
I do. I didn't say I didn't have any outstanding bills. You said MasterCard. I was like,
I don't have James stuff on me.
No, I'm saying I don't have MasterCard.
You put your feet on the couch or you didn't.
I'm like, I don't have MasterCard.
Okay,
That's what I meant.
but you got other bills.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So after you pay those bills, will you still want money? Or you won't want any money after that?
If I can live in my treehouse, no, and don't need it, no, I'm good.
How will you eat?
Gardening.
Okay, and if you need to repair your body, like the hospital or anything, how will you pay for that?
Well, I won't need to.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna be out of my thoughts. I'm just gonna be being.
So then you'll be no more sickness.
No.
Wow. You gotta start watching Disney movies. All right. That's that conscious Disneyism.
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 There we go with the isms again. Those are the isms.
Isms will get you.
Mm,
Try to look at money as time. Like you say, time is money.
yes.
Try to look at it that way. It might help you a little bit.
Time.
If you had money, you could buy time. Okay, let's say if you had somewhere to go right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said, well, we're going to take the bus, right? And how long will it take by bus? It's going to take this long. But if you have money, you could just call a driver to come get you, which might shave an hour off of your travel. So in that sense, money has bought you time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when it's time to do things around your place, you know, you may have to clean up, or you can hire somebody, which now frees up your time.
Mm-hmm.
So money gives you the one thing in the world that you can't get back: time.
Health too.
Health.
You go buy shit. You go buy that good shit from Whole Foods.
Yeah. Good point.
I buy the good shit from Whole Foods.
They cursing all on my head. They're potty
You
mouth.
understand?
Please, no, sorry, it's all right. Please excuse y'all. They're savage, but they're not savage like I'm savage. All right, I'm organized chaos. They're just chaotic. No joke. So you know, yeah, you gotta get a like. Okay, Achilles says I want money to go back to the motherland. Okay, Achilles. So let me ask you this question: how much does it cost to go back to the motherland? Now I already know you don't know, because the only people who say things like that are people who don't know. Nigeria. Okay, you want to go to, how much does it cost to go back to Nigeria? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm waiting, because we already went through this with Dietrich before. Yeah, we got to get some money, go back. How much does it cost? How many of you actually have how many of you have ever looked up the cost of the plane ticket? How much do you know how much it costs to rent a flat in Nigeria or West Africa for 2 years? Because most of the time you got a lease for 2 years at a time. How many of you know how much that costs? $1,200 for the plane ticket, Nicole says. I can get that plane ticket for $900 or under. But okay, we'll play with your $1,200. Okay, so $1,200. So you want $1,200, Achilles, to go back to Nigeria. That's, I guess, what you're saying. Even though Nicole gave you the answer of $1,200. Stop dreaming. Y'all got to stop dreaming so much. You know, we say I want money for this, I want money for that. If you have relationships, you don't need the money. You can start a program and take people to there and show them, and that could be paid for. Your trip can be paid for. I did a program years ago and took people to Kemet for free. Free. This is back 90s. We went to Egypt for free. Okay, so it's about, and the reason they were able to go for free is because of their relationship with me. And the reason I was able to generate and raise the funds because of my relationships with other people. It's not about money, man. That's the trick bag. That's what's got you running around in circles. Build up your economy through your relationships. And your first economy starts in your home. Your children and your spouse, that is your economy. And you got to understand that there's an economic warfare that's being waged against you. And the economic warfare begins with the division of your home. You understand what I'm saying? So then you keep thinking, I need more money, I need more money, I need more money. And you don't understand, because of the economic warfare, that money is going to be extracted from you anyway. Because if you haven't established a solidarity and a culture inside of your home, you're going to get a divorce anyway, which is going to devastate your economy all over again. You're going to lose children. They're not going to be raised under your right ruling and practices. You know, you may have a mate that's hitting you for alimony or child support or whatever, you know, or you as a woman, you may be getting a child support and alimony, but you don't know what to do with your money, because y'all never know what to do with your money. Gloria C says, I went for around $800. Exactly. See, you can get that ticket for $800. It knocks $400 off of it. But Nicole's $1,200 is the standard. But yeah, if you wait around for a good price, you can go between, like I said, under $900, about $800. But then what you gonna do when you get there? Kelly, you still ain't gave us an answer. See, you moving too slow, brother. See, this is what I'm saying. So a lot of times the things that you guys think you need money for, you don't really need money for. Establish the relationships first. Establish the economy. Stop moving like Lone Rangers, man. That's why we getting picked off and the children keep getting killed in the street. And you want me to march for your children? I ain't marching for your children. I ain't doing it, man. I'm busy. I got things to do. I'd rather reorganize my shoe closet. I got things that are more important to me, man. You know, I'd rather straighten out the license plate on my car or something. That's the truth of it. And you know what? So would you. That's why you can hear about somebody getting killed and say, oh, that's a shame. And then go scroll right down your timeline and see a funny video and laugh. You ain't thinking about it, but you feel like from social pressure that you have to have this outrage, this outcry of emotion, but you don't really feel that way. And Achilles says, "Oh, okay, that's true, Chief. Thank you, man. You ain't answer none of my questions. I don't know what you thanking me for. You a man. I put the pressure on the brothers. All right. So I don't know what you're talking about. Where's my answer, man? How much is it going to cost for you to go to Nigeria? See, it may sound like a noble goal, but it's not. We got to be long-term projectors as men. You can't expect the women to do it. They ain't no good at it. That's why they can't parallel park cars. All right? Yeah, I said
can.
it. You can't parallel
I
park
can.
no car.
I can whip a car real
Yeah, you
quick.
whipped it. You be hitting the curb
No,
and ramming the
that's not
car in
true.
front of you. You can't park
No,
no car.
I can parallel park.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Would you drive? A smart car with a little tiny
No.
car? You can't parallel park no regular car. I know that much.
So. I used to drive the 4x4. What's that? Pickup truck.
Running over stuff. Yeah, exactly.
No.
See how she smashed her hand? Hitting everything. I run right through it. I didn't have no problem. It had 4-wheel drive. I'd run over monster cars. This is what you think. You drove a monster truck.
I did. It was a monster truck.
See, exactly. She can't drive. You can't trust no woman to parallel park. If she,
that's not true.
I don't let women drive me anyway. So I know.
Oh my goodness. Anyway.
Why would I let you drive me? I'm in control. I'm the lead. I'm the guy. Why would I let you drive me? Psychologically, I might start thinking. You might start thinking that you in the lead.
No, just because I'm driving the car.
Yeah. Hey, it's like I told you young brothers on the show the other day. Even when you lay with a woman for the first time, do not do it doggy style.
Oh yeah.
Never put her in the front of you. All right. You lock her into submission. You hold her wrist. And you completely smother her. You let her see that she can be dominated. Okay? I told you young brothers that, man. You know, don't let her get on top of you and all that. I'm going to do the ISIS position. You don't need to revive my consciousness. No, I'm going to subdue you. Don't put that in her mind that she's going to be in front of you at any point in time. Now, Achilles says $5,000. You just coming up with numbers, brother. You ain't going to come up with a plan for expatriating back to Nigeria in 2 minutes. Okay, knock it off, man. Put that thing in writing. Okay, if it ain't $5,000, man, put it together properly. Keisha says, I always submit to males driving me. All right, don't be fresh, Keisha. Don't be fresh. All right. But anyway, I'm messing with y'all. But what I'm saying though is that, you know, there's different things we have to do, brothers, and we've fallen short. And like I said, we're becoming laughing stocks, man. You got alpha men that exist in other cultures and ethnic groups that are looking at us laughing because we're responding like females to things. We're responding. We're too reactionary. Take some proactionary measures, man. Don't expect your woman to do it all the time. Tosin says, I'm implementing that. Dominate them. I said the first time, brother, you sound a little bit too happy. You putting emoji smiles and stuff. All right. So I'm not saying, you know, become a sadist, but you a young brother. So yeah, at least start there. There's a lot of things on a small level that we do to undermine our own authority and our own positioning. I'm telling you, and we have to start. That's where you get into customs and practices. There's a lot of things that we do that, you know, cause sometimes your woman tests you and you don't even know you're being tested. You know, sometimes she'll put something out there because, again, we don't live in a society. We're not hunting. If she wants a steak, she goes to the supermarket. If you want a steak, you go to the supermarket. You ain't killing no buffalo or nothing like that and bringing it back home. You know, it'd be different if we went out hunting. I keep coming back with squirrels. You keep coming back with leopards. Who you think's gonna get on the tail in the village? The women gonna say, this one right here is gonna keep my babies fed and probably keep me safe. This one keeps catching squirrels. And she may say, hey man, I'm gonna go with the squirrel guy. I feel bad for him, but you know, I'm gonna rock with the squirrel guy for a while because he's cute or whatever, this or that. But you know what's gonna happen? She's gonna be looking over at the side at the leopard guy. And look at, he probably gonna have 3 or 4 women around because alpha men always have more than one woman, man. You get it through your head. I don't care how you feel about it. All right. He gonna have a couple women around him, and she's gonna be saying, damn, I sure wish I was over there eating that good meat, you know, instead of eating this damn squirrel. You know, ain't nothing hardly on us. And he's sitting there looking all goofy and saying, but you love me, right, baby? Yeah, I love you. I love you. You know, eventually you're gonna get knocked for your woman. So there's some very basic things to our culture, man, that keep us in a beta position, even in the grand scheme of the world market. And that's got to be embarrassing. You know, whatever it is that we can take ownership over, the things that we can actually control, let's just do it. It's real simple. You know, yes, blue pill, red pill, man. Take that red pill, man. I know it's not, you know, It's not as smooth and monochrome as the Matrix. It's not as comfortable. You know that this, you ain't gonna eat steak. You're gonna be eating gruel. But you got to start somewhere. Everybody starts somewhere, and that's what we're so afraid to do, to give up those creature comforts and to give up the things that have drawn us away from our natural self, man. Like I said, you brothers got to learn to walk barefoot sometimes, man. It'll make your kick stronger, to make your feet stronger, but also connect you back to that vibration. And if you're living in a culture where you can never walk around barefooted, get yourself a wooden staff, man. So at least there's a vibration of something that's on the ground, hitting up through your body. We're so out of tune, so therefore we've lost our authority. Achilles says, "I will, Chief. Thank you." Okay, so listen, today is May 21st. 2:13. Achilles says he's going to develop a plan in order for him to go back to Nigeria. If he doesn't develop that plan, then we have to look at him kind of funny. How long is it going to take, Achilles? When you going to come back with the plan? We want a date. And we wait. And I'm going to wait to end this show until we get a date. I did the same thing to Dietrich. I did the same thing to Anwar. So I'm not singling you out. Anytime you guys jump up and say I'm going to do something, I hold you to it in front of the entire community. That's what rites of passage is about. You got to prove yourself in front of the community so that we know how to treat you going forward. So if you talk any other language, we know that, okay, that's against what you told us earlier. Dark Angel says, "Are alpha females accepted?" Well, I bet you, Dark Angel, that you don't know what an alpha female is. So be careful with that question. So I'm going to ask you to explain to me what an alpha female is. Okay, I know what one is, and I've broken it down before, but what do you think an alpha female is? Because a lot of times we think mean, nasty females are alphas. Or like we say, she's such a bitch. Oh my God. That's not an alpha. Okay, so you got to tell me what an alpha is. And you've already shared your anger from being molested. You came on the show talking about that. So I bet you your idea of an alpha is someone who uses their pain for strength and as a shield, and doesn't take any crap because of what you've been through. But I'm going to let you, I'm not going to work from assumption. I'm going to let you tell me before we get off. And Achilles, it's 2:14 now, man. How long does it take to give us a date? Come on, brother. It's, 60 seconds is going by. When's the date that you're going to present the plan? Come on, man. I told you, thought is the fastest thing that moves in the universe, man. It's faster than sound. It's faster than light. It doesn't take this long to think. Come with it. I'm gonna wait for it, matter of fact. So Dark Angel, I want to know what an alpha is, and Achilles, I want to know your date for when you're gonna deliver this plan back to us, because if you deliver a sensible plan, then us brothers can build on that plan, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel, because there may be some other families that want to go to Nigeria. So you can share that blueprint. That's one of the problems with a lot of things we want to do. We have no track records of success that people share with us. So we're starting everything from the beginning, just like we do to our children so often. It's so cruel. We tell them to start from the beginning all the time. We Warren Buffett them. You ain't getting nothing. You start over from the beginning. The most we'll give them is a job reference. Go down to so-and-so, tell them your pops in them, sent you. Nah, man, okay, my Earth Day, May 28th. All right, 7 days, good. He threw there was an Earth Day in there, you ain't gonna get no leniency just because it's your Earth Day, brother. You a man. So May 28th, he's gonna come back and deliver to us. What day is that? A plan, whether it's the $5,000 or not, but a plan on how, okay, that's next Sunday. Next Sunday. Good. On how he's going to make this Nigerian move. We're looking for it, brother. And don't try to skip out and not come on the show, because you here every Sunday. That's how we got to move. I'm holding you accountable. Now, Dark Angel, you still have not given me a description of an alpha. So alpha females, of course, are accepted. So I'm going to start explaining to you. I don't think you're going to give me a description. An alpha is what a community needs most, period. An alpha is not a guy who just pushes other guys around because he can, or who's just bullish or hoggish or like a wolf just dominates everybody. An alpha is what a particular and selected and distinct community needs the most. They move to an alpha position. So for instance, if you're in a community of computer programmers and you're the best programmer in that community, you become the alpha of that community. It doesn't necessarily mean that you might still be a wimp, but you can still be an alpha. So here we go. Dark Angel says, yes, I have used my anger as a shield. I think an alpha female is a female that can provide food. I know. Hey, how you doing, brother? protect herself and those who she loves, and influences others in their own strengths. Nope, got it wrong. So I'm gonna read it again. Yes, I used to have I have used my anger as a shield. I think an alpha female is a female that can provide food, protect herself and those that she loves, and influences others in their own strength. You're talking about an independent female. An independent female is a beta. We don't want those. We want those to go away. That's not an alpha. You're talking about one who says, I get my own food, I can protect myself, and I protect my babies. And the truth is, she can never do any of that, because anything that you do as a woman is built upon what a man has already built for you. So there's no such thing as a woman doing for self. I know y'all like to say it all the time, but your systems are built upon patriarchy. And yes, Sequoia's hit it on the point on the head. She said, that sounds like a man. Exactly. See, the problem is,
Please let me get her.
yeah, I'm gonna let you come right here. I got you. The problem is, in this country, we always associate power with masculine values because there's no respect for the feminine. So if you want to move to the top position, you always say, I got to do what men do. Think like a man, act like a woman. You see? And that doesn't move you to the top position. That moves a man to the top position, but you don't have the equipment or the chemistry or the wiring to do what I do. You see? So it actually weakens you because you're trying to be something that you can't be. It's like me jumping out here tomorrow and trying to be a woman. I can get surgery, I can take pills, I can change my voice, I can switch, I can do whatever I want, but I'm gonna eternally Marvin says, LOL, oh Lord, Chief, please don't do us so bad. So the point I'm saying is that I can do all of those different things, but I'll be eternally frustrated because I'm trying to be something I could never be. I can never be a woman. You see? So it's the same thing. An alpha female, especially one like yourself, who's been attacked before, who's been abused, who's been molested, who's been raped. She sees power as her the one who conquered her or the one who victimized her. That's the most powerful to her. That's why a lot of times when girls decide that they want to be with girls, which is usually girls who have been molested or raped, they take on the ones who become what we call the bull daggers or the butchers. They take on the qualities or the attributes of mean men. They don't just decide to be, okay, I'm gonna dress like a man and make my voice deep or whatever. They actually, they're mean. And a lot of times they abuse the women that they're with because they think that's what men are supposed to do. They have a distorted view of power and a distorted view of manhood. So an alpha female is not one that can take on the qualities of manhood. An alpha female is one that stretches herself to her absolute limits in womanhood. So she becomes so receptive that she becomes a magnetic vortex. You know, you stand next to her and you want to just like, you go to her like a magnet. You know, she becomes such a nourisher that her children are like giants, and her man is like strong and powerful, and she's strong and powerful. So all the attributes that we attribute to femininehood, like healing, like congregation, like adornment, like beautification, she becomes the magnus opus and those areas. You see, magnus opum, and those areas, not taking on the qualities of manhood, that actually weakens her as a woman. It weakens her womanhood, and she becomes a beta in that sense, because what is she doing? She's following something that she could never be, as opposed to being something that the man could never be. Got you, brother Ish. You want to jump in?
Yeah, to all the sisters out there who still hold on to any type of feminism, you know, that radical 1960s Gloria Steinem CIA-based feminism, right? Do your research if you know what I'm talking about. You know, try and exist for 1 week without using anything a man's created. You want to walk the paved streets? Don't walk the paved streets. Men created that. You want to go into a building? Most likely the building that you got erected, a man created that. You want to have kids? Listen, you need my sperm to have a kid. You know what I'm saying? You want to take a crap on the toilet? A man created that. You want to turn on the faucet to have a shower? Guess who laid the plumbing, and guess who blasted the dams and built the dams? Guess who created electricity? Guess who created the cell phone you use? Guess who created the computer?
Good point. Good point. And you know, and it doesn't mean that it puts you in a position where because you know, sometimes an ignorant woman or an ignorant person will use that to go to extremes. So you saying I ain't worth nothing? No. Don't use it as an excuse to say that. What we're saying is that in this society, you haven't even been introduced to your power. You haven't even scratched the surface of what you do. That's why we talk about female archetypes and archangels and Orisha and Devis. We'll talk about Lakshmi and Parvati and Saraswati and Oshun and Tara and Lilith and Eve and Mary Magdalene and Pampagira and the sacred whores, or who we call Het Haru or Hathor, but she was really a hoe. That's what that energy was. We'll talk about all these feminine archetypes so you can see all the things that you were designed to be and do. But so many women want to go and be Ogun. I'm a warrior. What you gonna do? You ain't gonna do nothing. Now, Sister Kia asked, Chief, is this the virtuous woman described in Proverbs 31? No, virtuous, when they speak about the virtuous woman described in Proverbs 31, they're talking about a woman who has qualities that match that, where she's able to subdue or control her emotional impulses with her logical mind. When you look at the definition of the word virtuous, it actually relates to manly, to masculine. So the idea of virtue or being virtuous is actually a masculine quality, because there's certain virtue is like it's a container word. So there's different words that fall underneath the idea of virtue. Okay, so integrity, honor, discipline, character, these are all the things that fall underneath the container of virtue. So, and these were things that would attribute to men. Now, why would they attribute to men? I know you may look at them and say that's unfair. It's not unfair. Women don't play by the rules. They're watery energy. That's why we celebrate the witch so much, right? Why do we celebrate the witch? Because witches do whatever they feel like. They're not bound to the structure and the definition and the rules of men. When you hear people talk about respect and integrity and honor, who's usually saying it? A man. Women don't even talk like that. What do women talk about? Self-love, glamour. Look at the names of women's magazines. Glamour. You know, it's all things that deal with how they want to present themselves to the world. So a virtuous woman, which is what you should all be striving to be, is one who's balanced the left and right brain hemispheres, who's balanced her masculinity with her femininity internally. So that's why they say she's virtuous, but or it's virtuous or it's virtue, but the woman has ascribed to that. So it's very similar to when we say something like an artistic man, because arts and abstractions are the realm of the woman. You see, so if you get a guy who's artistic, that means he synced those hemispheres. He's gone over into woman's world. A virtuous woman has gone over into man's world, and it creates that balance in that sense. You see, so those are the principles that you want to really learn and grab onto. But like I said, you haven't even been introduced to your power, man. And when we do introduce it, most of the time you don't want it. L. Jackson says, greetings, everyone. Ashe for this meaty segment today. Always wondered why a man would want to mimic the weaker species, transgendered, etc. Deep.
I'm about to say weaker.
Okay. So explain the weak. Well, I'll let sister.
I mean, why does it have to be strength versus weakness? Why can't it just be representation of the feminine?
Okay. Any
brother, you think it took weakness to push your ass out in
that
here?
was a woman who said that.
Oh, I'm sorry. That sounded like a brother saying it. I thought it was a brother.
That was the sister from the Bahamas.
Really? Do you have kids, sister? If you have kids, then you know what power and what strength it takes to push a kid out, and then the strength and power it's going to take to raise that kid in this world. Right, that's a sacred job.
Okay, so now you got that from the sister and the brother, and now you're gonna get it from me. Women are weaker. Now we have 2 martial artists here at the table. We got 3 in total. You train, sis? I don't even want to know.
She used to train.
Yes.
Yeah, because I figured, yeah. Remember the conversation we had before we turned everything on? I don't want to, let your business out there.
No, I don't care.
Yeah, what was it? Summer Queen Bee?
The Queen Bee.
Yeah, we're going to leave that alone. So, okay. Aikido. Principles are based upon. Yeah, here we go.
The strength is in the balance between the yin and the yang, between the polarities. That's where the strength lies, right? And you must understand what each polarity does in order to manifest it in its most effective use, right? So you must, when I'm doing Chi Sao is the energy balance. Most of it is yin. Yang is only to be exact in an exact point in an exact time, but most of it is yin. So you have to know how to use each principle of the polarity correctly in order to manifest.
While he's talking.
In order to manifest I am.
I see the way you looking at the sky. You're like,
I am. Because I gotta go into my own experience and give it to you truthfully and factually. So that's what I have to say about it.
So look at what he just said, and you all probably heard it. Most of it is yin. Yin is feminine. Yin is weak, where yang is strong. So this, you can't make power and strength synonymous words with each other. Women are powerful. They're not strong. You don't want to be strong as a woman. Strength extends itself out like an electricity, like expansion. Weakness contracts itself in. The problem is we look at, because remember, we live in a society where we're seeing examples of extreme distorted patriarchy. So words like weak are looked at as a deficit.
Right.
We don't see that there's power in weakness.
Right.
When you're
Right.
it is evil. Right. So
Evil
there
is
is
good.
Evil is good. Eve, woman. El, God. Evil means black. Well, Eve is black, but evil is woman God. Evil's good. You want evil. Okay? So the weakness is where your power is. Your power always lies in the dark, right? Your power always lies in the unseen. That's also where your corruption is. Your corruption is where your power is. You see? Now, corruption, darkness, contraction are feminine principles. They're when you have the ability to go weak in the face of strength. And you do that a lot of time in art. Chi Sao. Somebody sends something, or some of you may know it as circular hands. It's not circular, but it's similar. So, but you're learning basically to not only generate a certain amount of force, but you're learning to redirect force until it gets to a point that you can take that redirection and send it at a precise yang moment, just like lightning. Lightning just comes at one moment. So women are the weaker vessel. Men are the stronger vessel. But you have to stop looking at weaker and stronger or positive and negative as harmful and advantageous.
That was good.
We want weak.
I like that.
And we need you, sisters, because think about this.
I'm feeling better.
Sexual power.
Yeah.
When are you women strong? I told you the only power that you have on the planet is your sex. You may not like it, but it's the truth. But the problem is you weren't introduced to your sex. So you don't know how big of a statement that is. Look at all the things we do for sex. We buy cars that we can't even afford for sex because of sexual power. Homes, we dress a certain way. So many things are driven by that.
In fact, the reason why you have what you have is because of sex.
Yeah. The reason why you're here.
Why you're here is sex.
Sexual power. That's the woman's domain.
Yeah.
But see, you weren't taught that in this society. Yeah. So when we say, or when I say, the only power you have is sex. Oh man, how you gonna say that, Chief? Women do this, women do it. Your power is sex. Anything you do, I can do, and I can do it better. I'm smarter than you. I'm wiser than you. Spiritually, I'm more powerful than you. I can run faster than you. I can run longer than you. I can do all these different things better than you that exist on this earth plane. Now, men, we don't like to say that because we feel like we got to give them something. So we come up with things like the WNBA. Even though nobody goes to the games, doesn't make any money. But we come up with things like that just so women can feel better because we don't want to tell them, sis, your power is not in playing basketball. That's what we do. Your power is in your weakness, because what happens when you go into a woman's weak space? What's the weakest part on her body? What's the part that receives the most? It's a vagina. And what happens when you go in her weak space? You become weak and a slave to her. The power is in the weakness. You see what I'm saying? So in this society, we weren't taught that. We were taught everything is force. You meet force with force. We all got to be walking around like the Incredible Hulk. What happens when he gets pissed off? He gets stronger. And the more you fight him, the stronger he gets. You see, there was science in it that you were supposed to see that a lot of us didn't pick up on. So what happens if you look at the old movie shows, the old TV show with Bruce Banner, and remember, what would always happen, what would always turn him back from the Hulk to Bruce Banner? A child. He'd be beating up the whole town, throwing tanks over cars and all that. Then the child, he would turn around, and there'd be a child there, and he would just breathe.
Even now, it's the woman.
It's the woman, right, like King Kong. You see? So it's the weakness of the woman that becomes her power. What men have that combats a woman's power is force. She's high energy of power. So you get a woman who's real powerful. She's all over the place. Yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and she's able to do so many different things. What corrals that? Well, if you don't sit your ass down, I'm not playing with you. Sit down. Sometimes you even got to grab her by the shoulders and say, sit your ass down in this chair. You making a mess, or you're going crazy, or you're hysterical. Sometimes when she's hysterical and she's harming herself, she's spinning out of control. You can't argue with her. You can't say, baby, you're hurting yourself. You got to grab her by the shoulders and say, stop.
Calm down.
And she'll say, if she trusts you, and I'm not talking about abuse. If she trusts you, I was doing it again. Yeah, baby, you was doing it again. Thank you. So it's your high force that can deal with that power. The more powerful the woman, the more forceful the man. But when you live in a system of extreme patriarchy, that force becomes abusive brutality.
Right.
There's a difference.
Right.
All right. So that's the stuff you weren't taught in the schools. That's the problem. You were only taught brutality, you know, feed on the weaker and stuff like that. And you didn't get it, you know. So, women should be weak. You guys got to be soft again, because when you're soft, you're more powerful.
Indeed.
That's why you live longer. Because we, you know, look at it like this, and this is messed up, but brothers, this is what it is. We're the car and the women are the passengers. That's what life is. So to be a car on this road of life, you're the one, if there's an accident, you get hit. You know, you're the one that everybody rides in. What you build, like the brother just said earlier, everything you build, everybody's going to use. Ogun cars the road. You know, how many times you drive down the road and say, man, they did a really nice job on this road. You ain't thinking about it. You just use the road and keep it moving. How many times you walk through the woods and you hiking and you see a trail and you wonder who cleared that trail? You don't care. But trust me, it was a man who did it.
And that's the problem.
I
That's
do.
the problem with this
That's the problem with the society. Yeah. Well, you know what? I say that's just a natural thing of life, man. That's just a part of being a man. You know, you're some things you're not going to be, some things you just do.
That's right.
And that's why when you carve a trail, you do it by yourself. Nobody knows you did it.
Some things you just
you got to do by yourself. You know, when you really break new ground, you got to pull away from the herd. So the herd doesn't witness what you did when you went up on the mountaintop. But when they're walking, they'll say, oh, there's a new trail. It might have killed you when you got to the top. But that's what's called, brothers, a warrior's death. That's how you want to die. You want to die accomplishing what you came here for. That's a warrior's death. Even if it's at the moment, man. I mean, you had that idiot that just plowed through all them people down in Times Square, hurt all them people, killed somebody and hurt 20 people. There's a precinct right there. If you want to die a warrior's death. I know. Let me shut up. But I'm going out strapped with C4. But anyway, let me stop, man, because some of y'all are crazy, and I don't want y'all. Chief, y'all told me. No, Chief, I ain't tell you nothing. Be peaceful, be loving, you know, give everybody a hug, man. And thank you, officers, for doing the great job you're doing, man. You're keeping us safe out here, and America's greatest country in the world, man. You know, USA. So, just gotta put that out there.
Just gotta put that out there.
Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? These are things that we haven't been taught. So when we talk about getting together as a community, you know, these are the basics that when we start to learn them, not only can we respect each other in proper form, but we can see what our character should be. So look at the realm of the dark. Look at the realm of the unknown, right? That's woman's world. How big is that? Look at the realm of what has been defined and what is seen and what can be defined further.
That's right.
That's man's world. Now, if you could just do that, you'll stop stepping on each other's toes. You'll get out of the way of one another. You see? And then we can start building a community. All right. So I'm gonna go through these last bit of questions, and then we're gonna get out of here. But yeah, so Dark Angel, your question about and your thing about the alphas. No, the alpha is a person who's most needed. So if you live in a community where there's the population shortage, and you're a woman who has a lot of children, you can move to an alpha position if you're very fertile. You see, so it's determined by your community environment. We may call an alpha man the guy who can really protect you and do this and do that, but that's because we live in a hostile environment. You know, like I said, compare your lives to the lives of the ancient Kemetites. You know, ancient Egypt. Look at the pictures of them on the pyramid walls. They were soft. They were weak. Look at the dudes. You can't tell the only difference between the men and the women on the walls was the color, the tone of paint that they used to paint them. Their bodies looked exactly the same. This was their downfall. You know, they outsourced their army, and then what did the army do? The same thing that the Mongols did when they were outsourced. They turned on the people who was paying them. They said, "Oh, you got that much gold to pay us to fight the wars for you? Tell you what, this is where extortion started. Now you're gonna pay us to not attack you. You can't outsource your army. You got to police your own neighborhoods." All right, so let's see what's here. What's here? I'm just scanning through for questions, then we're gonna get out of it because we're way over time, and I've given y'all way more than what you need. All right. You're not coming. Okay. I saved silver coins 1970 and older, copper pennies 1981 and older. Sister Kia, yeah, that's good. That's real good because you know in 81 is when they went to zinc. So the pennies that we have now are 97% zinc, 3% copper, and the ones prior to 1981 were 97% copper, 3% zinc. So they're actually worth more than a penny. Yeah, so that's good. That's good. You're saving those. When this stuff crashes, you're gonna need that hard currency, that gold and that silver, you know, to make certain things happen for yourself. Because the money already crashed, really. I mean, that secret's out. The money ain't worth anything. All right, cool. Carthage did the same thing. Yeah, I knew Lo was gonna give me something. Yeah, outsourcing that army is dangerous. Look at your communities now. Who do you call when something happens? You've outsourced your protection in your own community. You're doing the same thing that ancient Kemet did. And what is the outsourced people now done? They turned in on you. Now they're killing your own children. You're paying them to kill your children. You know, history is a beautiful thing, man. If you try to get into it, you'd be surprised what you will learn. You might even learn that this is like our 5th black president. All right, so with that, men's call is probably almost over. I really cut into it. And as far as questions about community and the Anu community, Anu Life Global Ministries at anulifeglobal.org is where you want to sign up for the ministry. You do not have to be a member of the class to be in the ministry. So you don't have to pay, excuse me. Uh-oh. I think the plants are turning on us. But you don't have to pay $20 or $99 that you might pay for a class, even though I have free classes too. But you don't have to pay for a class to be part of the community. That's not what this is about. Anything that you need to initiate into or pay to join is not real. Let me give you that little bit of science. Okay. So the classes that I sell and that I give you for those who want to go deeper and get a deeper level of understanding and a deeper level of information, but that may not be for everybody, you know. So no, this is not a wraparound experience. I give you all this free information so then later I can hit you in the head with some class. If you want to get that, come on in and get some deeper information. If you want to take your learning seriously, it will take you to the next level. There's no doubt. Now that anybody who's in the class will tell you. So I know that's why I don't sell the classes. I don't pump them up. I don't need to. You know, the students do that enough. They know what it does. But I have over 500 shows. So there's a lot that you can dig into without joining anything. But if you want to be a part of this ministry and want to be, oops, I'm sorry, just killed a bug. Sorry about that. I'm so sorry. And want to be privy to the things that we're doing as a ministry and some of the moves we're making, like the African Initiative and some of the tech centers we built, the rites of passage and things like that, then you would want to join the ministry, which again is a precursor to joining the community. All right. So ultimately, this leads us in a certain place. I haven't revealed that full plan yet because I don't trust all of you. I don't know all of you. All right. So those things are to be revealed in person, like when we do the retreats and things like that, when we can sit down around the fire and crack jokes, or like we did last time, Brother Charles made s'mores. You know, they got organic marshmallows, but they wanted to make s'mores. Yeah, real African. But it was a fun time nonetheless. We had a good time. But that's the time we really start talking about long-term things. But some of you know, I've spoken to some of you on the side. So that's the question, you know, in regards to community or joining community. Right now you're learning and you're scrubbing your walls of all of disease toxins and the egoic layers that are keeping you from being what you're here to be. X-Men.
They have their own mutant power. What's yours?
Yeah. X-Men were created the same year the Black Panther Party was. You peep what that is, man. Stan Lee knew what he was doing. You look at Storm. Storm is not even a mutant. They said she's a god. She's Oya. She was represented. She was worshipped in Kenya as a god. And if you read her backstory, she grew up in Cairo. She grew up in Egypt. She's a god. Not goddess. No such thing as a goddess. Sisters, you reduce yourself by calling yourself a goddess. God has no gender. All right. So we're going to head out. But that's just the information if you want to join. If you want to take a class, that's on saduluhouse.com. SADULUHOUSE.com. The other thing is blowing through the jasmine of my mind. Yeah, Isley Brothers. The other thing is, for the ministry, I Knew Life Global, to join the ministry. And there's other things that are going on, you know. And for readings, askosiris.com. Okay, so different place to get different things. We did that to make it simple for you. All right, so I think that's the end of the questions. I saw a lot of comments there, but it looks like you guys were having your own conversation. And Sister Summer, I want to thank you, right? I think she's questioned out. You're more than welcome. And we're going to have her back, of course, because she has some other things that she wanted to share with us, but we had to talk about it first. So she's got some things going on herself. She's not just a student. You know, she's doing some other things as well. All right, that we'll get into, because you know I'm all about you guys supporting each other, man. Because if we don't reward each other, who is really? And whoever you let reward you is who you let define you. I don't want accolades from anybody. I don't care if anybody says you're so smart and so well spoken. It doesn't mean anything to me, man. But when you guys say thanks, Chief, you helped me, or hey, Chief, the sound is breaking up, because whoever you let punish you also defines you. Your rewards and punishments define you. So if you say, Chief, man, I ain't feeling that segment, and it's my community, you know, that means something. But we got to learn to support each other first, to reward each other first, to congratulate. Let's be the first to do it. And then let everything be secondary, man. And raise your children to have English as their fifth language. All right. Until such time, you know, peace and strength to everyone. You want to say anything on the way out, you two?
You know, I always say peace, love, and light.
Aw. What about you, brother?
I'm just grateful to be here, to soak up so much knowledge, and to be amongst good people.
Give thanks. And my cousin Cole was on the other side. Yeah, come on, don't give him a little something.
I'm definitely thankful for getting this lesson. I came right on time.
You sure did.
This was I needed it.
Okay.
So this was supposed to happen.
Give thanks. See, you see boy, synchronicity. I was trying to have him finish before he came, and he said he needed it. So look at that, man. That's what it's about. All right, y'all. So I'll be back tomorrow dawning. Sequoia says, give thanks, Sister Summer, and to your king. Peace, fam.
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
All right.
Peaches and Herb.
Reunited.
Oh, they about to do a duet. Oh my goodness. Black love is strong. Black love. So
made the world.
And peace to you, Patricia. I would give you all a shout out. You know, I usually like to go through the list and shout everybody, but there's a lot of you on here. Lakeisha, I'm gonna give some of the ones who don't not normally on here. Lakeisha, Mama Sadaka, you always come through. Brother Jabari, I think this was the first for you. I think, you know, so brother Jabari is here. Ask some good questions. Give thanks. supported the sister. Sister Anima. You had a question. Let me give that real quick. Ashe, yes, we have to get the lesson. What do we do with those experiences? Elevate ourselves in them. Don't continue. Oh, you answered your own question. All right, she said, what do we do in those experiences? I'm assuming she was talking about some of the bad experiences we go through. She says, I believe it's a woman, Anima. Elevate ourselves in them. Don't continue to be the victim. Learn, elevate yourselves, and teach. Help others on similar paths. Good summation. So yeah, man, just all of you who came through, Akili, Sister Madeline, of course, Brother Tosan, who got some new good guidance. Brother Tareen, come on, brother. We need to get that avatar pick of you up, man. We tired of seeing that big T. You know what I mean? I told you I saw a picture of you, man. You got a goatee, man. Show them women a goatee. I think you had a tank top on too, man. Show them the tank top and the goatee, man. Start scooping up these single women, man. Bring them into your fold. Dark Angel, peace to you as well. If you need more help, we're here for you. Join the ministry. Start getting in on those calls when we get them started. And there's plenty of sisters here who will talk to you. And I think you need somebody to talk to you. So if you want to reach out, and I can link you up with some good sisters. Just send an email to questions@anewnation.org. They'll forward it over to me, and then I'll link you up with somebody if you feel like you need somebody to talk to. But I feel like you need somebody to talk to. All right. So let me just say that. So just, yeah, everyone. I know there's a lot of people, brother or sister. I'm not sure. Charlambos. Got a lot of new people here, man. I don't want to skip everybody. So you know what? I'm just gonna skip all of y'all. All right. So peace to everyone. Esme. Oh, Dark Angel, you changed your name. Look at you learning. See that? Now look at that, Brother Tareen. And the time of the show, because I told her that name was no good. She changed her name from Dark Angel Hex to Esme Forbes. Esme. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Esme or Esme. And she says, very eye-opening. Thanks. Got a different outlook on things. Balance, love, and cocoa butter, everyone. Okay. See that? We doing it, man. This is what it is.
Male to bring assistance to a feminine aspect.
Right. Bringing you into your feminine aspect, like the brother just said. This is awesome, man. This is what the work is, man. It may not be as glorious, as you may have pictured it, man, but it's the small things. It's my cousin coming through and saying I needed that. It's the sister changing her name from something that was putting a hex on her into something that was more powerful and getting some clarity, man. Celebrate those small things. I'm telling you, there'll come a time when these will be your good old days. I told you, it gets progressively worse. Man, remember when we used to sit and listen to Chief and he was able to talk for 3 hours, man, before they locked him up and sent him to Guantanamo Bay for teaching? Man, that was nice. Or before he disappeared, he kept warning and saying he was going to disappear at some point, and he finally did it. Before they shut down YouTube, before they took all the black broadcasters off of YouTube, before they all left, man, remember the good old days?
They're doing it now.
They doing it. I know. That's why I mentioned it. They already started. Yeah, they took the ads off. Yep. So people are leaving left and right. Nothing lasts forever. These are your good old days. Soak it up. All right, we're out of here, family. Give thanks. I'll see you all first thing tomorrow dawning. Be well and just be safe today, man. And think about what we said and try not to get too offended. It's truth and it's therapy. And you need it. Yeah, I figured that was your real name, sis. Esme Forbes. Good. Keep it that way. And then next time you come on the show, tell me what your name means. Tell me what your name means. Oh, she said, don't speak it. That I'm going to go to. All right, I won't speak that into existence. Patricia Cole, she's the only one who cares about me because she's the only one who said, don't speak that into existence. All right. Peace.